a factor of production. It is a means of survival. Therefore, any mishandling, any misuse of land can cause conflicts and even loss of lives. That's why this committee was put in place to ensure that we live in harmony on land. Our dear visitors from the ministry, we want to inform you that there is a nationwide alarm about land conflicts, land evictions, illegal land evictions. And some of these evictions are promoted by those who are supposed to protect the vulnerables, those who are supposed to protect the voiceless. For example, the ministry itself, Uganda Police, UPDF, even the judiciary through court orders and delays in judgments and delays in court land-related cases. Therefore, this necessitated Parliament to come up with this committee. And we want to inform you that this is not going to be business as usual. We want to deliver for the better of our people. So we request for full cooperation between the committee and the ministry and Uganda Land Commission since you are here. I want also to be cognizant of the fact that we are in a period of politics where members are busy. Even in ministries, I believe you are also somehow busy. So we are going to ensure that we use the time available so that members can also go and do their campaigns. So, honorable members, since this is our first interaction with the ministry and the Uganda Land Commission, I want to request that since the minister has not yet come, that we get a presentation from Uganda Land Commission. I don't know if they are ready. Is Uganda Land Commission ready?
We are ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Since Uganda Land Commission is ready, and this is our first interaction, these are our colleagues from the other side of civil service, much as for us we are politicians. We want to listen from you, especially about your role, mandate, and functions, so that this committee is brought to speed and we continue doing our work in an informed point of view. You're most welcome to the committee, and the floor is yours.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like to thank your members for inviting us to this very important meeting. We are aware of the political atmosphere at present. So for those who are in yellow, I'd like to congratulate amongst you those who have been identified to carry the flag. Then for other sectors where they have not probably carried out their flag bearers, we also pray that the process will go smoothly and you carry the flag and you will be with us in Parliament next year from January. It's a difficult interview, the kind of interview for a job where you go to the public and there is no criteria in most cases. I'm aware of that. But all the same, we congratulate those who have been. Those who have not probably got the flag, you don't have to worry, because life does not end from Parliament. There will be life after Parliament. With that few remarks, I would like to invite my technical team to go through our presentation. Jokene Walter, Dr. Kenny Walter is the senior planner, principal planning officer in Uganda Land Commission. He will take us through the presentation. Yeah, Walter.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe before he starts, we want to thank you for your parental communication. That is very important to members of Parliament. However, we have a member who was outside during introduction, so I request that she introduces herself, then the presenter comes in.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Juliet Subichinyamatama. I'm the Woman Member of Parliament for Rakai District and a member on this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This is a presentation of Uganda Land Commission that gives update on its mandate execution, legal framework gaps, operational challenges, and the strategic priorities. Honorable Chair and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Lands, thank you for inviting ULC to engage with your committee. I appreciate this opportunity to provide a comprehensive update on ULC activities, challenges, and strategic direction. Constitutional and legal foundations of Uganda Land Commission. The 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and the Land Act, Cap 236, established ULC with the mandate to hold and manage any land in and out of Uganda vested in the government of Uganda and manage the land fund amongst other functions as prescribed by or under the Land Act or any other enactment. ULC is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal. It can sue or be sued in its corporate names. While performing its duties, the Commission conforms to government policy concerning land matters, as well as policy directions issued by the Minister responsible for lands. Functions of the Commission. Honorable Chair, the first one is holding and managing government land. Section 50 of the Land Act stipulates the functions to include this: hold and manage any land in Uganda which is vested in or acquired by the government in accordance with the Constitution. B, where applicable, hold and manage any land acquired by the government abroad, except that the Commission may delegate the management of such land to Uganda's missions abroad. Procure certificates of title for any land vested in or acquired by government. Perform such other functions as may be prescribed by or under the Land Act or any other enactment. In executing these functions, Section 54 of the Land Act empowers the Commission to A, procure certificates of title for any land vested in or acquired by government.
Let's welcome the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Judith Nabakoba. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. We waited for you. While on the way, we decided together with the team that we introduce ourselves, and they are all done with it. We are done with the introductions. We have communicated. So Now, Uganda Land Commission is doing its presentation. Then after, you will be leading the ministry to also give their presentation. That is if you agree with the procedure. It is okay? All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. While executing the above functions, which I enumerated, Section 54 of the Land Act empowers the Commission to procure certificates of title for any land vested in or acquired by government, acquired by purchase or exchange, or otherwise hold land rights, easements, or interest in land, erect, alter, enlarge, improve, or demolish any building or any erection on any land held by it, sell, lease, or otherwise deal with the land held by it, cause surveys, plans, maps, drawings, and estimates to be made by or through its officers or agents, do such other things as may be necessary for or incidental to the exercise of those powers and the performance of those functions. B is managing the land fund. Section 42 of the Land Act stipulates that the Commission shall manage the land fund, and the monies to form part of the fund shall be derived from the following sources: monies appropriated by Parliament, loans obtained by government, grants from donors, any monies paid into the fund under the Act, any other source approved by the Minister responsible for lands in writing in consultation with the Minister responsible for finance. Chair, Section 41(4) of the Act stimulates that the fund is meant to be utilized as follows: to give loans to tenants by occupancy to enable them to acquire registrable interest, according to Article 237, 9B of the Constitution. Then B, by the government to purchase or acquire registered land to enable tenants by occupancy to acquire registrable interest under the Constitution. Then C is to settle persons rendered landless by government action, natural disaster, or any other cause. D is to assist other persons in acquiring titles. Therefore, Chair, under the Land Fund, the Commission is supposed to execute the following functions: giving loans to lawful or bona fide occupants; 2, purchase or acquire land where necessary to redistribute to the tenants in occupancy; then to verify and distribute the land referred to under 2, cause and facilitate the land surveys under 3, so that the occupants can acquire registrable interest; give loans to other persons to enable them to have their land surveyed, to acquire certificates of title, and perform such other functions as provided in the Act, or as the Minister responsible for land might in writing determine. Chair, the Land Fund, however, has not yet been operationalized fully, despite the efforts made by the Commission to see to it that it is operationalized. Nonetheless, the Commission has, the government has provided funds to the Commission through its development budget to acquire land from absentee landlords. Over the years, the Commission has prioritized acquiring land that is physically encumbered to redistribute to tenants in occupancy in fulfillment of Section 41(4)(b) of the Act. Recently, the Commission began redistributing such land to its beneficiaries through systematic demarcation. For key Uganda Land Commission priorities and plan under NDP4, that is financial year 2025-26 to 2029-30. In alignment with the NDP4, the Commission is looking to, one, optimize strategic and service-responsive government land assets management. This will be achieved through maintaining a comprehensive and updated inventory of government land, allocating and leasing land equitably, transparently, and in line with the national development goals. Then preventing encroachment and ensuring optimal and sustainable utilization of government land resources. Number two is leverage digital transformation and land data governance. Honorable Chair, this will be achieved through digitizing all government land records via the Uganda Land Commission Management Information System with a focus on non-tax revenue generation, which will be integrated with the GIS and the National Land Information System. The other one is through automating workflows to improve service efficiency, transparency, and accuracy. Then enhancing data security, interoperability with national systems, and evidence-based decision-making. Number three, Honorable Chair, is to boost sustainability, resource mobilization, and partnerships. We shall realize this by mainstreaming environmental conservation and climate resilience into government land management. Strengthening financial sustainability through resource mobilization and diversified funding. Then building strategic partnerships with the government entities, development partners, civil society, and the private sector. Now, the fourth area is enhanced stakeholder engagement and public trust through fostering inclusive, transparent, and participatory land governance, enhancing grievance redress mechanisms and proactive public communication, building trust with communities, institutions, and the public to reduce disputes and enhance compliance. The fifth is promote innovation and technology integration through adopting emerging technologies such as mobile platforms, artificial intelligence, and blockchain to improve service delivery, using technology to reduce delays, fraud, and human error in government land transactions. Promote land justice and equity through addressing historical land injustices and promoting equitable access to land, especially for vulnerable groups. Then integrating mediation and peaceful dispute resolution into government land governance to foster stability and social cohesion. The seventh key area, Mr. Chairman, is drive results-oriented management through setting clear, measurable targets and implementing robust monitoring and evaluation system, and using performance data to guide decision-making, improve service delivery, and ensure accountability. Ongoing programs by Uganda Land Commission. The main programs of the Commission revolve around holding and managing government land and resolving of historical land injustices as explained under section 30 above. In the previous financial year 2024-25, Honorable Chair, ULC was allocated Uganda shillings 24.36 billion, where wage accounted for 0.67 billion, non-wage recurrent 6.7 5 billion, and GOU development 16.92 billion. We were able to do the following, Mr. Chairman. So the key outputs. A is leasing of government land. This process involves application by clients, inspection by a team from Uganda Land Commission board and members, and board meetings for a decision, then assessment of premium and ground rent, payment and processing of the certificate of title. We were able to process 764 lease transactions from across the country. Out of this number, 88.7 were approved, 5.8% were deferred, and 5.5 were rejected for different reasons. And we collected 5.417 billion in premium and ground rent. B is government land titling and inventory. Mr. Chairman, this process starts with the ministries, departments, and agencies of government applying for land under their use to be titled. Boundary opening surveys are then undertaken, and freehold certificates are processed in the name of ULC and the user MDA. We were able to process 545 certificates of title for MDAs. Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development took the biggest chunk under ECO project. We processed 513 certificates of title. National Agricultural Research Organization (ADFO), MAIF 2, Mpiji District Local Government, Ministry of Health, Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, Ministry of Education, Sept Secondary School, Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Each actually were able to process 1. Uganda Police Force 4, then Naru 2, Ministry of Energy 2, Ministry of Education and Sports 1, National Water and Sewerage 2, Ministry of Health 1. Uganda Police was repeated, sorry for that. Then Uganda Land Commission 3, Ministry of Water and Environment 1. C is land compensation to absentee landlords, Mr. Chairman. Under the GOU development budget, Uganda Land Commission receives money for land compensation to absentee landlords. This process starts with the application by the absentee landlord. It is willing buyer, willing seller basis. Boundary opening surveys are conducted, inspection and valuation, payment and transfer of certificates of title into the names of Uganda Land Commission. We were able to acquire 2,102.6 hectares of land through compensation to absentee landlords for securing lawful and bona fide occupants in these regions of Buganda, Bunyoro, Ankole, and Toro. Cumulatively, Mr. Chairman, we have realized the following progress in respect of compensation to absentee landlords. This is a table that gives the details region by region. The first column is the category: fully paid, partially paid, underpaid. Then the size in hectares, the valuation amount, amount paid, and the balance. So the first one is Bunyoro. Next is Buganda, Mr. Chairman. Then you go to Ankole, Toro, and Bugishu in Eastern region. The summary, Mr. Chairman, is that we have been able to fully pay 99,516 hectares at the total amount of 162 billion shillings. That was the valued amount, and that was the amount paid. So then the second category, those partially paid, we have 28,437.6 hectares. Out of the valued amount of 22.75 billion, we have cleared 57.7 billion, leaving an outstanding balance of 169.8 billion shillings. Unpaid, where the absentee landlords have handed in the certificates of title, but we haven't made any payment. The land size is 22,932.7 hectares, valued at 359.7 billion shillings. So the total amount is outstanding. In total, Mr. Chairman, government through Uganda Land Commission has acquired 150,886.5 hectares at a value of 749.2 billion shillings. Amount paid is 219.8 billion, while we have an outstanding of 529.5 billion shillings. D is regularization of land ownership to lawful and bona fide occupants. Mr. Chairman, once land is fully compensated and transferred into the names of Uganda Land Commission, the process of regularizing land ownership of occupants through systematic demarcation is then undertaken. Now, this process involves sensitization and consultative meetings with the leaders at district level, sub-county, village levels, and beneficiaries. It includes boundary opening survey and systematic subdivision surveys. Then the display of cadastral maps and lists of beneficiaries in a transparent manner. Then processing of deed plans, mobilization of stamp duty and registration fees, and finally, processing and handover of certificates of title to the beneficiaries. In the last financial year, Mr. Chairman, we were able to subdivide 15,818 parcels of land for ownership regularization to occupants. However, Mr. Chairman, we also want to inform the committee that over the years, from 2022, the Commission prioritized the processing and handover of certificates of title to beneficiaries of the land fund. And we have so far issued titles to occupants on the compensated land by government as per the table below, Mr. Chairman. This table also, similar to the other one, we have categorized them at regional level, region by region. We have categorized this. A is in Greater Chibale. We have the details of the land parcel, the block, the plot, the district. That is the first column, piece of land. Then the villages covered. The number of parcels surveyed. For Greater Chibale sub-region, Mr. Chairman, we have processed and handed over 4,780 certificates of title. Then B is other parts of the country. We have detail of the land and the district. We have been in Ibonyangabo, Rwampara, Mubende, there's Gomba. So if you total all this, these are 8,979. I have not put the total there. So altogether, the grand total is 13,759 certificates of title. C is ongoing systematic demarcation projects. Uganda Land Commission is presently undertaking the following systematic demarcation and certification In Gomba district, Mr. Chairman, as you can see, the second column is on the district, then the property, the stage at which we have reached, then expected number of titles, and we have expected completion dates. I request that, Mr. Chairman, I may not have to go into details, but on the overall, we are working on 16,771 parcels of land. Retooling of Uganda Land Commission. Mr. Chair, this is a project that took place during implementation of NDP 3 that ended in June, covering the financial year 2020-2021 up to 2024-25. We received a total funding of 10.35 billion, and we were able to undertake these retooling activities: purchase of vehicles, office equipment, ICT, hardware, software, furniture, and fitting. Planned outputs by the Commission in the current financial year 2025-2026. The Commission has an approved budget of 104 billion, broken down as below. We have wage, which is 1.09 billion shillings, non-wage recurrent, 16.9, GOU development is 26.9, giving a total of 44.947, Mr. Chairman. This is an increase compared to the approved budget of the previous financial year of 24.362. Also, to inform you, Mr. Chairman, is that the Commission has been considered for arrears in this financial year to the tune of 60 billion shillings. This will go a long way in resolving the issues of accumulated arrears under land compensation. Nonetheless, it's still not sufficient. So it gives a total of 104.94 billion with arrears, but without arrears, it's 44.947. The priority areas, Mr. Chairman, in this financial year is that we are looking at compensating 20,000 hectares of land from absentee landlords. We plan to undertake 5,000 subdivision surveys. I have explained the details of how these activities are implemented. We are planning for 10 field sensitization and consultative meetings with everybody. We also plan to collect 8 billion non-tax revenue from across the country, undertake 600 lease transactions, and then process land titles for at least 1,000 hectares of government land, freehold certificates, 300 deed plans, and 20 title process for MDAs, 300 inspection reports on government land. We are also looking at functional GIS data for government land and general mobilization activities. Then we also want now to integrate the management information system of non-tax revenue with the other government systems, NIRA, URA, UBOS, NITA-U. We also plan to make appearances and handle court cases in all the regions of this country. We are looking at office equipment, servers, computers, and other institutional capacity development activities. Challenges faced by the Commission in implementation of land laws and policies and gaps in the existing legal and policy framework. We have also used a table, Mr. Chairman, to make it very simple so that we can follow. Now, the first one, the challenges and gaps, and then we have also proposed solutions that we think can go a long way in addressing them. The first one is inadequate legal framework, absence of the ULC enabling law to provide for the comprehensive functioning of the Commission. The most affected areas, Mr. Chairman, one is a comprehensive definition of government land. Then the other one is provision for a vice chairperson of the commission. Mr. Chair, you recall that when the former chairperson was under interdiction, we had a lot of challenges. Then it will also resolve overlapping mandates of holding government land with other agencies, with other statutory bodies. You recall even UNRWA also had a mandate actually. It's only that it has been rationalized. So our proposed solution is fast-tracking the enactment of the law. The second one is the absence of an updated inventory of government land, which leads to encroachment, court cases, and underutilization of such parcels of land. We are looking at development of a comprehensive land inventory in conjunction with the Mother Ministry, MDAs, and other local governments. Inadequate budget to fully implement the mandate. We have an outstanding arrears of over 500 billion shillings. The details are in page 8, I think, if you go backward. So we request for increased budget allocation and external financing. In the previous pages, we brought out the sources of funding for the land fund. So far, it's only the first one, which is appropriation by Parliament. It's the only funding that we have been receiving under the land fund. Then that's why we are talking of full operationalization of the land fund as the solution to this problem. Inadequate staff structure and understaffing. Only 49% of the approved staff structure is filled. We don't have a legal unit, not a regional presence, no enforcement capacity. So the solution would be restructuring of the commission to provide for additional department for legal and compliance enforcement and others. Then recruitment of staff and filling the staffing structure. The other one, Mr. Chairman, is marginalization of the commission in terms of welfare and remuneration of commission members. Members of the commission are currently given a 30% retainer fee instead of full salaries, which contravene Article 238(6) of the Constitution that mandates that members' salaries and allowances be charged on the consolidated. And when you look at Section 54(1) of the Act, provides for salaries and allowances in letters of appointment. Then Schedule 9B of the Circular Standing Instruction number 1 of 2025, which outlines equitable salary scales for all constitutional commissions. Can provide a copy of this letter. Mr. Chairman, number 6 is lack of a home for ULC. This puts government land records a bit insecure. So we are also looking at building a home for government land management. The other one is lack of land bank to meet growing demands and directives for land allocation to investors. There is a need to create a land bank that would address this particular issue. Lack of data information support processes, intelligence and IT systems to bolster ULC operations. We are already undertaking this exercise, Mr. Chairman. We just only need to step it up and conclude. Inadequate professional training and capacity building for staff to provide specialized training in land management for staff. inadequate sensitization of the public on land management and land laws. This, Mr. Chairman, you alluded in your communication. That's why for us as the Commission, we think conducting sensitization campaigns would go a long way in solving this. Call to action. We therefore urge the Parliamentary Committee on Land to support Uganda Land Commission in some of these areas. One is fast-tracking the enactment of the bill, accelerating the digitization processes, operationalizing the land fund and clearing the compensation areas through budget allocations of at least 100 billion shillings annually. Then increasing the ULC support budget to support the development of a government land inventory. This is one area that has been seriously underfunded. The construction of a home and the creation of a land bank for the Commission. Our expectation, Mr. Chairman, is that once these are undertaken, then it will yield the following outcomes. We're looking at increased transparency in the Commission's operation, improved quality of Commission decisions, timely implementation and follow-up of Commission decisions, improved security of government land, enhanced revenue collection, increased number of purchased compensated lands, increased number of land titles redistributed to lawful and bona fide occupants, increased confidence and trust in the Commission by all stakeholders, minimized court cases, improved work environment and staff morale, and improved Commission's image and brand visibility. Other relevant matters that we also want to bring to your attention, Mr. Chairman, is that the Commission and Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development are preparing a cabinet paper on the development of an eco-tourism city at Koja Peninsula, Katotsi, Mukono district. Here is a summary of this project we are talking about, the project overview. This project aims to develop a modern eco-tourism satellite city on over 50 square miles of the Koja Peninsula in Katotsi, Mukono district. It was announced in 2021 with the support from the Uganda government and international partners, including artist Econ. This visionary city will feature skyscrapers, shopping malls, technology hubs, building studios, music studios, eco-friendly resorts, and extensive infrastructure. The location's natural beauty and strategic position on Lake Victoria make it ideal for suitable urban development that avoids Kampala's overcrowding and planning issues. Relevance and need. Mr. Chairman, currently Kampala faces urban congestion and infrastructure strain, while Uganda lacks a modern, well-planned satellite city. The Koja Peninsula provides underutilized strategic land for this purpose, addressing urban sprawl, enhancing ecotourism, and creating inclusive economic opportunities for rural communities. The key stakeholders and their roles that we have identified, Mr. Chairman. The first one is government of Uganda to do land gazettement, infrastructure development, tourism promotion and oversight. Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development to do the planning, evaluation, project monitoring. Then Uganda Land Commission is land identification, acquisition, title issuance, and investment facilitation. Now, Mukono District local government, where this parcel of land is located, would be engaged in community engagement and local coordination. Then international partners, their role would be to undertake design, funding, and global promotion. We have also looked at the sustainability of this project, Mr. Chairman. The financial sustainability will be achieved through plot sales and tourism income, whereas environmental sustainability will be maintained via ecotourism principles and green spaces. Social sustainability involves fair compensation and job creation. The city will connect with national infrastructure systems such as the standard gauge railway, Kampala-Jinja Express Highway, which are already in the pipeline. Economic and social impact. This project is expected to catalyze further satellite city developments, boost investments across various sectors, hospitality, transport, ICT, education. It will also improve Uganda's international profile as one of the countries with eco-friendly city, and also attract diaspora and foreign direct investment into this country. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the Commission upholds its mandate and appreciates the committee's guidance and collaboration in promoting Uganda's land governance agenda, submitted by our chairman, Professor Jack Nyekupenlu. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much for an elaborate presentation. And indeed, we have come to understand clearly that Uganda Land Commission holds and manages all public land. Honorable members, you have heard from the Commission's presentation, and you are welcome to reacting to the presentation so that they can answer, and then we go to the ministry. Honorable members, anyone with a reaction to the presentation? Yes, Honorable Tebandeke.
Thank you, Chair. Though most of my questions, I think, will go to Ministry, but allow me to have a few to the Commission. Honorable Chair, I need to appreciate the report because it's in line with the law. But I've got a few issues where I need clarification. On the issues of money, the report looks clear, but it's too general. Does not specify and may not give us enough evidence to be convinced that the table outlining how it was spent, the money went to the exact beneficiaries, more so on titling of titles to specific regions. So I need some clarity, if any. How do we have that as evidence to enrich the House and the public that that money served the actual purpose on the issuance of titles? Honorable Chair, is there a chance for oversight for this committee to reach in those specific areas for visual evidence and first-hand information from the beneficiaries?
Definitely yes, and we shall say all that in our resolution after while ending the committee meeting.
Then, on the issued out certificates of titles in the respective areas, some tables are incomplete and they don't show exactly the real beneficiaries. I've been keen on page 11 where we just have numbers. On the table for showing the parcels surveyed. It is only numbers. They are not clear on who exactly and what is embedded in the parcels. What is within these parcels? Is a parcel per head, per beneficiary? Is it a parcel per the entire community? So the table summarizing does not give the actual detailed information on what is within the parcels. On page 3 of the presentation, Uganda Land Commission, in executing its duties, is supposed to give loan to the lawful or bona fide occupants. I would like to ask to be enriched and updated on the actual criteria through which these beneficiaries acquire these loans, the repayment plan, and any other entitlement of the loan, because it has remained also unclear. And when it comes to loan issues with Ugandans, I think they can easily rush in to attain the service. I would also wish to know and be updated. I don't know whether the questions are being numbered. I look quicker. I would wish to be updated whether Uganda Land Commission is responsible for the Nachivobo channel, and who is giving out the title of the channel to whom, since the government, since it is a government channel. Is it under your custody? Who is responsible for it? Do you have the records of the titles of Nachivobo channel? And who exactly, as a registrar, signed on it to give it out to whom? And yet there is a controversial issue that it is for government. Under which circumstances can land transaction change hands from government to private individual? Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is a quicker one. I would like to ask the Chairman of Land Commission if all these transactions do usually involve the Chief Government Valuer? 2, if it so happened that you involve him as Mr. Kalmonda and his office, how do you move to those areas they have mentioned to do the work of valuation? And in regard to this, Chairman, I asked this question because there was one incident in my constituency, particularly, whereby we got an offer for the project of supplying water to the constituency, whereby we had land church and the government land. And the bishop, who in particular wanted to give us the land, requested for the value of the government land. I personally contacted you, both in writing, whereby your office in Mbara requested for 1.5 million to travel 62 kilometers to give us evaluation. Up to now, it is almost 2 years, and we are even likely to lose that project. So I wanted to know, do government give your office money for operations, or it's the commission which is supposed to give you money to operationalize? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Next. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair, and our visitors. I've seen the request here for a home. I've been told there is some building along Isubulole Road near Ministry of Health that belongs to Ministry of Lands. I thought that was a database. I need some clarification about that. And most of these questions have been presentations.
Be close to the microphone so that we can hear you properly.
Yeah, most of these presentations are practical. No, the issues of land, they are practical issues. Since this committee is still a new committee, and the members are also new, there is need for what my colleagues have said, practical visit, and I've also seen this project here of good project for developing a peninsula in Mukono, Sea. I don't know how whether the plans have been, physical planning has been done. We need to know more details about it, and also a visit to the place. I think those are the few things I can ask.
Kuruo?
Thank you very much, Chair. I have also a few questions here to the Commission. I wanted to find out if the Commission has all the inventory of all the land possessed within the country and outside the country. And also, if the Commission is the one responsible for degassetting land, maybe due to increasing population, especially in forested areas, and also national parks and game reserves. Because I have a very big contention of some land in my constituency, in a place called Angesa, in the Katakwi district. Then too, I wanted the Commission to tell us, because there is an outcry of dilapidated buildings in the land owned by the government in other countries, especially United Kingdom, and I think possibly also Kenya, because it sends a very bad image to our country. Then lastly, the land fund. I wanted to ask whether this exists, and if it exists, how much is it, or how much money do you get annually? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Juliet Subi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for giving me this opportunity. I want to first of all thank the Uganda Land Commission for a very good presentation. I'm sure the country now knows your mandate. And also some questions have been answered in your presentation. Majorly regarding the legal mandate that you have, and you've informed this committee that we should fast track the bill, which we do not have a copy. So we are requesting that as a committee, we need a copy to know what is happening and what it is addressing. Two, my major concern is on the land fund. And like you stated, you have funding gaps. But I am also interested in knowing the criteria you use to fund some other districts or other regions and leave out others. I am from Rakai, and I have a big issue of absentee landlords. And I would imagine that Rakai district should have been a beneficiary like we have seen other districts, and we have not. So I'm wondering what criteria you use. And after the criteria issue, then we could, as a committee, also push for more funding on the land fund. I want to appreciate you on the request for the action on the funding for digitization of the entire process under the Uganda Land Commission. I think as a committee we should interest ourselves in pushing for that funding, because maybe it will solve the big issues that we have at hand. But though I am so much concerned with the decision making and transparency that you make with the disputes, I have a case in Rakai where the commission took its time, came on ground, saw what was the conflict, gave a proposal and went ahead and cancelled the title that was acquired wrongly or fraudulently. And thereafter, the commission itself reinstated the title without consulting the involved stakeholders. So I question the transparency of your decision making, which the digitization would not handle. So I request that you give us feedback on what would have happened. Why would that happen? The issue about the funding gaps, the budget gaps, is very important, because I, for one, has gone through a lot of costs in funding or transporting our people to the commission whenever they have issues, because you do not have regional offices in, for example, Masaka. So I think that as a committee we should interest ourselves in pushing for that budget, because our people already have enough on their plate to handle than having to come to Kampala. Then all the costs involved, the logistics is very expensive. So I agree with you that you need support funding in that area. Regarding the Nachivubo, one of the members of parliament has talked about it. In addition to what he was asking for, we would like to know as a committee if Ham was given the lease, how many years was he given, or if government is still the one with the title and the other one is a development partner, and so the title is in government names. We want to know the certainty of that land and the titling of that channel. Thank you so much.
Honorable Juliet Subi, can you be very brief? Please.
Chair, on page 15, the presenter showed the dissatisfaction in the legal lack of, yes, page 15 of the presentation, there is lack of a clear, comprehensive definition of government land. Now, you as a technical, how would you guide us? How would you enrich the public? How would you wish it to be defined? Then, since you are responsible for all the land under government and in line with missions abroad, embassies, are you aware of the land belonging to ECOP, to Uganda under ECOP, at Tanzania, and you have the details? Then you showed the challenge on the lack of home for the Uganda Land Commission, lack of a building. Whom would you wish to have worked on this? Under whose mandate, whose proposal, and how would you wish us to help you acquire a home? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Tebandeke. Maybe on that, they are raising a concern of legal and a policy framework I think we shall find, as Parliament, that's within our reach, and we shall find a way of how to handle it to have that problem solved. Honorable Nyangwe, so you had something to say? Oh, okay. Honorable Vice, you have any communication to make so that we can...
Thank you, Chair and honorable colleagues. As mentioned earlier, my name is Ojokando Olanya. I'm the Vice Chairperson of this committee, representing Omoro County in Omoro District. I want to thank our guests for coming and for the cordial interaction we have had. And that should be the spirit, really, because we're here for each other to make sure that at least the land subsector develops. I just have a few questions for clarification. You focus so much on 4 regions. You focus on Buganda, Bunyoro, Ankole, and Toro. What is the criteria, and what is your plan for covering the rest of the country? Because it's even in your plan for the next financial year, you still focus on these 4 regions. What is the plan for the other regions? Why are you focusing on this particular 4 regions? Chair, I want to agree with the challenge that these people, our members from the Land Commission, are facing on the issue of remuneration, the 30% retainer. Because if it's a clear provision in the law, why are they being paid the 30% retainer? Maybe the minister could answer. I don't know who can answer that question. Why has it been the practice that the staff of Ugandan Commission are being paid a retainer as opposed to what is provided for in the law? Secondly, I think there's some low-hanging fruits. The Uganda Land Commission's bill that is coming up, it's still with the first parliamentary council, but once it comes to the committee, we shall dispose it of as expeditiously as possible, just for the good of the commission. I'm also happy that you've informed us about some of the future projects like the ecotourism city. I last heard about in the media about Icon City, something like that. But since you've said it's going to cabinet, once it comes in we can discuss it, because I feel it's still a concept. But once it comes to us, we shall also look into it. I want to appreciate the Commission for also adopting emerging technologies. In your presentation, you've talked about technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain, and that is one way to go if we are to ensure the transparency in these land transactions. So, Chair, I want to commend the Commission and commend the members for this cordiality that we're showing. If we can maintain this spirit, surely we are going to move very far and very fast. So I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before we receive answers from our visitors, maybe allow me to also bring out this for emphasis. One thing.
Maybe you could also shed more light on the operationalization of the land fund. What did you mean? Because as far as the committee is concerned, there's a land fund regulations of 2014. So what is the operationalization we're talking about? Where is the challenge?
Thank you very much. I am glad that in the presentation, your challenges are in the light of the NDP4 proposed interventions. For example, undertaking a comprehensive government land inventory and even acquiring land infrastructure corridor to avoid our projects being expensive. So I am extremely glad for that. But for emphasis, Honorable Kuruho has commented about the dilapidated assets, buildings outside the country. We want clarity, if it is in your jurisdiction, about Uganda House in Kenya. You know, it was burnt during the Gen Z demonstration. So what is the fate? Is it being reconstructed? What is happening? We would really love to know about that. Honorable Juliet, your comment and Honorable Tebandeke about Nachivubo Channel. Yes, this Committee on Lands is responsible for lands, physical planning, And since they are going to start construction, the committee will invite. Actually, tomorrow we are meeting Physical Planning Board. We shall have to understand how they are going to build, how they are going to channel water during construction so that we do not have a flooded city, all that kind of thing. But since we are meeting Uganda Land Commission and let them answer their part, then we shall be going ahead. Thank you very much, Honorable Juliet. Just in a second so that we
Still on achievable, since we were not part of the agreement, we do not know what is in the agreement. As a committee, through you, Chair, we request that we see what is in the agreement so that we stop speculation that is on social media. Through you, Chair, if you accept, we would request to have the agreement.
Definitely, we shall. Thank you. We shall consult from the parliamentary leadership because there is another committee handling, so we shall see our part and how to handle harmoniously. Let me take this opportunity to invite Uganda Land Commission to answer the question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I'd like to welcome our Minister. You are welcome, Honorable Minister and the peers. You raised a number of issues and questions. I will just answer one or two, then I leave my colleagues to come in. The Nakivubu, fortunately, the minister is here. There is a lot of policy issues on that. But also, for the benefit of members, Kampala City also has its district land board, and they handle land within the city, which does not belong to Uganda Land Commission. So it is likely Nakivubu falls under Kampala District Land Board. But again, the minister is here. He's going to help. I want to talk more about you can even see, we had a very long presentation on this Katosi. Members, as you are aware, many African countries are developing satellite cities. And fortunately, you members of parliament, you travel fairly well. And you appreciate the well-planned cities in some parts of the world. And as a commission, together with the minister, when the president wanted to give land to this Akon, the South African, the Senegalese, we went and saw this land in Katosia Peninsula, getting inside the lake. And we thought, instead of giving a small piece of land for this developer, we would rather get the whole land, gazetted, plan it properly, compensate everybody in that land, plan it properly for a well-planned satellite city for this country, which can attract tourists. So it's something which we like you, the people, to help us. If you want, we can arrange and you go and take a look at this place. If you go there, you will appreciate the beauty of some of these parts of this country. Definitely will be very good. So we have discussed this with the ministry at our technical level, and we want your support. Then the inventory, land inventory, my technical people will handle it. The dilapidated land, government buildings in foreign countries, my technical people will also talk about it. But most of the embassies are mainly maintained by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So again, I'm sure you have a committee of parliament in respect for foreign affairs. And you could even call the PS Foreign Affairs to get details on how they handle land belonging to government abroad. The issue of the welfare of the Commission, I thank the Vice Chair who has already talked about it, Honorable Ujok. The Commission members, it is only the Ugandan Commission members but who are not paid salaries. They are paid a retainer, which is a quarter of what they are supposed to pay, to get as salaries. And the work of the Commission becomes difficult because members only come for meetings. The appointment letters only for meetings. They are paid sitting allowance, they are paid mileage, and then they are paid accommodation per diem. So it becomes difficult. Me as a chair, the people who have been appointed by the president to work with me are not there all the time. I cannot access them. We only bring them when we have money to pay them allowances. So I think you need to help us. And we have raised this thing very many times. The minister is here. I've written so many letters. But it makes work difficult. Actually it's difficult. I don't want to continue much on that, but and also the absence of the bill, the law, enabling law for Ugandan Commission. The Constitution was promulgated in 1995. 30 years. It is only Ugandan Commission that doesn't have the law. All the other constitutional commissions, they are standing on their own. But they work with the relevant government ministries. But for Ugandan Commission, there's nothing like a bill. The other time when the chairperson was suspended by the president, there was a vacuum. There's no law which states in the absence of a chair, so and so and so and so. The only law which says in the absence of a chair is for a meeting. But the work of the commission is not just meetings. So I think, honorable members, I think through you, I'd like to request the minister who is here to really, unless there is a law which says members of the commission are part-time, otherwise there is no reason for members not to be paid salaries. I thank you.
Are you done with answering questions? Honorable Tebandeka, I want to request that you restrain yourself to what and be mindful of time.
Thank you, Chair. The respondent, I would like it to be recorded well, where I said the authority has got its own powers to do certain issues. In my own wisdom, I'm concluding it that at exception of the Commission. Now I'm coming to learn, Honorable Chair, that the authority and the Commission, which one is bigger than the other, and which one operates under the other. But when I look at Article 239 of the Uganda Constitution, outlines the functions of the Uganda Land Commission. If I can verbally read, the Uganda Land Commission shall hold and manage any land in Uganda vested in or acquired by the government of Uganda in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Honorable Chair, in my own wisdom, I thought that any land belonging to government of Uganda, before any authority comes in to take precedent on the usage of it, the Commission has got more powers. Now, if the respondent tells us the authority, which is referring to the Kampala Capital Authority, that has the mandate to operate the channel, exception of the commission. Should we say Kampala Capital Authority is a bigger dog than the commission itself? I would like clarification because this is a national issue in the public interest.
Honorable Tebandeke, the minister is here. Uganda Land Commission is still explaining, so let us give them time to explain. However, Mr. Chairman of Land Commission, the issue of salaries is catered for in the Act. It's, I think it's 54. It's section 54 talks about salaries and expenses of the Commission. So I think the problem is out implementation, not the law. The gap was covered by the law. Thank you very much. You may continue.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Andrew Nyumba, the Secretary, Uganda Land Commission. And I would want to begin by the last clarification from Honorable Tebandeke. If you saw amongst our challenges regarding the comprehensive legal framework, we mentioned that we have an issue of overlapping mandates. The Land Commission constitutional mandate to hold and manage government land vis-a-vis the agency's statutory mandates to also hold and manage land. For example, KCCA is a body corporate and they have the power to own land. So that is one of the things we need to streamline. And also we mentioned that we do not have that comprehensive definition of government land. So that is one of the things or gaps in the law that we wanted to be cured by the Land Commission bill. And then the other issue revolves mostly about the land fund, operationalization. There are questions of whether the fund exists or not, and the answer to that question is that the fund does not exist. So even all these provisions in the Land Act, they are not currently operational. And by operationalization, we mean that it should be a separate fund, just like the youth, I think it's a youth fund, youth livelihood fund, road fund. It would have its own, what I would call secretariat and administration that would report to the Land Commission. But that is not yet in place, so we do not have the land fund. But to cure the historical injustices and minimize on the evictions, government as a stopgap measure has been availing funds to the Commission to compensate the absentee landlords, and that is through the development budget. So we would want the fund itself to be set up, and it is that fund that would now be able to loan money to beneficiaries. So currently we do not have an operating loan scheme. So all that is not yet in place. And would want the support of the committee to see to it that we have this fund established. And then there was a question on the criteria of selecting where the beneficiaries of these funds are. Why is it in Bunyoro, Uganda, Ankole, and Toro? The plain answer to that is that these are areas where we had historical land injustices occasioned by the British in the, I think it was 1900s, where they came, they found land, then they created titles and gave the land to, for example, in Bunyoro, we have the Chebale question. That is Buyaga and Bugangaizi, the lost counties. It had the Bunyoro, but titles were given to Baganda. So that is why you see this is the focus of resolving that historical injustice. So you will not find injustices, for example, in the east or in the north, where most of the land is customary. We do not have such cases. Then there was a question about how ULC wants to be supported to have a home. Definitely this calls for resources. Currently we are renting at Nakawa, but also I'm aware even Parliament wants to take over the ministry offices. So even very soon the ministry might be homeless. So we need support for both the Commission and the Ministry of Lands to set up our homes. Then there was a question about a reinstated title in Rakai. Would request, Honorable, if you could furnish us with information on that case, we'll be able to investigate and give you a comprehensive answer to that. And then, Chair and members, there was also a question about the eco plan in Tanzania, whether we are in charge of it. Our mandate, Honorable Chair and members, is limited to only the land in Uganda. The eco project, we are in charge of 296 kilometers from the refinery area in Kabale, Hoima side, up to Rakai. That is where the Uganda Land Commission mandate stops. And we have processed titles for all this land. I believe we're at about 90% coverage. So we are soon completing the titling of this land. And out of this land, we are leasing to the company, the ECOP. There's a company which was formulated to handle the project. It's a East African Crude Oil Pipeline Company Limited. I believe that covers most of the questions. I don't know if I've left anything behind. Maybe I would request one of my colleagues also submit.
Secretary, to the Commission, there is a rumor that among the beneficiaries of compensation, absentee landlords, some of the titles are new. You find that a title is 1 month old and the person is called an absentee landlord. Are you privy to that information before Honorable Juliet comes in? Oh, okay, please.
Additionally, there was a question on the criteria you use to select some people to be compensated and others not to be, yet they applied at the same time. Like I mentioned, in Rakai we have over 60 titles of absentee landlords that need to be compensated, and nothing has been done so far. And secondly, like Honorable Chair is saying, we've had an issue of land grabbers now that are just creating titles, and they quickly come to the Land Commission for compensation, and they are quickly compensated with just new titles, which is now promoting that issue of just grabbing people's land and they are being compensated as absentee landlords. Thank you.
Chair, thank you. Chair, in the presentation on page 1, and in line with Section 50 of the Land Act, the Commission assured us that where applicable, unless where I'm convinced that the Commission does not apply to management of the land outside Uganda, but from his own presentation, where applicable, the Commission shall hold and manage land acquired by government abroad, except that the Commission may delegate the management of such land to Uganda's mission abroad. Honorable Chair, I wouldn't wish this Commission not to get interest in acquiring of our land outside Uganda, so that by the time I become a president, I find no land outside Uganda when you seated on the job. So, Honorable Chair, I request that the Commission takes interest and inquire into our land in Tanzania, because the ECOP project was majorly initiated to benefit Ugandans. So why should we leave some other residues to outsiders? Yet it is in line with the law. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Let me respond first to the issue of the new titles. Honorable Chair and members, in the areas that we have mentioned, most of the titles where the historical injustice happened were created a long time ago during the colonial rule. But these titles, over the years, have had succession from the original, I would say, beneficiaries to administrators, and then and at times you'd find that they would subdivide such land. And when you do a subdivision, it doesn't take away that this land was originally issued a long time ago, because you'll get a new title today, but out of originally, can I call it old land for lack of a better word. But we do not entertain titles, for example, freeholds that have been created now. Those ones we do not entertain under the Commission for Compensation. There would be new titles of those that are out of originally titled lands that were there during the colonial time. Then on the criteria for who gets paid first and last, Chair and members, this compensation is based on willing buyer, willing seller. And it's also based on availability of resources. As you can see in our presentation, we have an outstanding amount of about 500 billion. So if we are not given this money, it will remain outstanding. And would want to pay everyone. That's why we are requesting the committee to support us with a budget of at least 100 billion per year. Within 5 years, all these people would have been paid. So that is what I would want to communicate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Maybe about this, the pipe oil line, the line. From what we were told when we visited the ECOP, much more money was spent on compensating land here in Uganda. But in Tanzania, their land system is different. And very little money was compensated. And yet the longest distance of the pipeline is in Tanzania. So whatever land which is in Tanzania where the pipeline passed, that land remains a Tanzanian land. So the only land which belongs to us is where we compensated the people who their land was acquired for the pipeline.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Uganda Land Commission, for providing information. Yes.
Yes, Chair. Through the Permanent Secretary, I would like to respond to a question raised about what Uganda Land Commission relies on, who carries out the evaluation, how is the evaluation done. My name is Gilbert Kermondo. I am the Chief Government Valuer. We get formal requests from Uganda Land Commission to carry out evaluation, say for the land fund purposes, for determination of terms for leases, that is premium and ground rent and other assignments. Valuation is fieldwork based. There's no way we do valuation seated in a boardroom like this or in our comfortable offices without reaching the locus. So it requires some facilitation to reach the locus. And Uganda Land Commission provides for that. Our Ministry of Lands also, under inland travel, provides for that. But it's not adequate. The funds available is not enough. It is my humble appeal. I'm pleased with the comment from Honorable Member of Parliament, Honorable Ojok, that this cordial relationship should help us build how best this commission can help us. We really appeal to you to support us when we're asking for some increment in supporting Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development in general, but in particular on this subject matter, the Office of the Chief Government Valuer. Because we cannot move to the field if we don't have enough facilitation. This calls for delays in some of the work we do. But to be specific to Honorable's issue in Mbarara, where the bishop is also involved, I'm going to investigate on that. I apologize if we have taken all these years without delivering. I pledge to get back to you before close of business today. Thank you, Honorable.
Very much. Before we see off Uganda Land Commission, someone wanted to know from the Permanent Secretary. They are part of the ministry, so they should wait for their minister to finish. That's a very good guidance. That's a very good guidance. So there are payments that are being made. The committee would like to know the account that receives ground rent in Kampala. Is it under KCCA? Is it being supervised by the ministry? Who supervises the money that is paid as ground rent? I think that will come later in your presentation. Otherwise, we thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much for your presentation. At this juncture, we are requesting the minister to give us her brief remarks and then invite the presenter for today's presentation by the ministry. Maybe before the minister comes, we have a new member. We have a member who has just come in, and she has not yet introduced herself. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Betty Engola, Woman Member of Parliament, Apache District. Sorry, Chair, we're still having a meeting with Committee of Appointments, because as you're aware, we are vetting members. One of them is Lady Justice Jane Francis Abodo. So we had to complete with that. But I was here much earlier. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and Vice Chair of the committee and members. We apologize for coming a little late, but before I go to the main presentation about the ministry, I wanted to clarify on some of the issues that were presented by ULC. One is the issue of the land fund. Government and cabinet took a decision that no more creating of land fund, and they are not going to put even funds in any fund in any fund, special fund created. What they decided is to keep on facilitating all putting funds in the ministry's main budget, all funding ULC, and they expect us to prioritize our activities and interventions within what they are going to be providing. So meaning that we cannot think that the land fund will be operationalized anymore. They will give us money, and maybe what the committee can do and the members is to ring fence. If money comes, a specific amount maybe can be said, let it go for compensation, and maybe to be used as a loan, because right now we don't have loans to help those who may want money from the ministry to acquire land. Somebody asked about the reports and clarification. I would ask the chairperson and the secretary to please provide the reports on the list of beneficiaries, and also a detailed report on the funds that have been given to the landlords so that members can be acquainted on who has been paid and how much that person has been paid. Then who are those who have received partial, how much have they received so far? Then where have we made titles? Can they have access to the lists of those who have received titles? Please provide them with the information. Then another issue which was talked about was the issue of what is paid to the ULC members. When I went to the ministry, it's only the chairperson who is a full-time member. The rest of the members are taken as part-time, and that's why they are getting a third and also the allowances. Right now, what we are doing in the ministry is studying to see how best we can help our members to receive what they want to receive. So it is under consideration. That's what I can say. Then the Vice Chair talked about what interventions do we have for the rest of the regions. The Secretary talked about the rest of the country, land is customary, and most of it had not been titled. So we have interventions to do what we call customary certificates of ownership for those areas where land has never been titled. The ULC has been handling land which belongs to absentee landlords, land that was titled in the 1900s, and yet that land has bona fide and lawful tenants. So the intervention of the LC is to buy that land to enable the lawful and bona fide occupants get certificates of titles. But for other areas, we are doing CCOs. We are also having the Sept project, which has been ongoing. It has had some interventions in areas where ULC has not been in position to give their services. Then we have also another project which has been approved, which is called Land Economics Competitiveness Project. It is a project which is majorly going to focus on titling the entire country, and this is a Government of Uganda project. We'll request you for your support so that the communities who are outside there can get the services which they require from us. Then land outside Uganda, yes, it's a mandate of ULC to keep records of land which is outside Uganda, and they must work with Foreign Affairs. I always ask them to work with Foreign Affairs to ensure that at least documentation can be secured for our land which is outside the country. I think those are the things I wanted to respond to from Uganda Land Commission, and we just pledge our commitment and support. You've heard that the fund is still, the money which they have is still minimal, cannot supply the demand. I can tell you that people every day are coming to my office asking for government to buy land which is encumbered, that is land which has tenants. But the challenge we have is the funds. ULC has no money to compensate. The landlords are willing, yes, for their land to be bought. But as government, we don't have money yet. But His Excellency promised that maybe in the coming years, government is going to prioritize the issue of land so that money is put in the ULC and the ministry to be in position to compensate those who are willing to have their land taken on by government for the bona fide and lawful occupants. I now go to the presentation, and I will ask my permanent secretary, who is here, to take us through what we have prepared for the ministry. For Nachivubo, I promise that we shall get in touch with KCCA and Ministry of Water and Environment to harmonize, because they are key stakeholders in as far as Nachivubo is concerned.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chairperson, and Honorable members. My name is Richard Juko. And substantively, I'm the Undersecretary Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, but I'm standing in for the PS, who is away out of the country on other duties. This invitation came when she had already traveled. And I want to request that, in the interest of time, I ask the Commissioner, Monitoring and Evaluation, to take us through the document. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, and the Permanent Secretary and honourable members. I'm going to take you through our document. I will try to be fast because it's quite big, about 45 pages, so I'll summarize where I find necessary, if you allow. My name is Smith Matsko. I'm a Commissioner, Research and M&E. So, if you have the document, it is labeled the operations and performance of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development by the Honourable Minister. As of introduction, the Ministry has two votes under it, and that's the Ministry itself and Uganda Lands Commission, and also has some autonomous agencies. We have the National Housing Construction Company. Honorable Chair, they came in, but we had already started. Then we have the National Physical Planners Registration Board. Then we have the Architects Registration Board and Surveyors Registration Board. So, Chair, with the transition from sector-wide now to program approach, we have different MDAs under the program called Sustainable Urbanization and Housing. And if you permit me, let me read them. We have Ministry of Kampala, City and Metropolitan Affairs, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Works and Transport, Ministry of Water, Energy, Trade, Internal Affairs, Justice, Judiciary, Urban Authorities, Private Sector, Kampala City Authority, Uganda Investment Authority, NPA, NEMA, National Water, and NGOs. The Ministry of Political Leadership has the Cabinet Minister, who is around, Honorable Judith Nabakova, the State Minister for Lands, Honorable Sam Mayanja, then State Minister for Urban Development, Honorable Obiga Kanya, then the State Minister for Housing, Honorable Persis Namganza, and the technical leadership is headed by the PS, Mrs. Dorcas Wagma Okalany. The mandate, vision, and mission. Our vision is sustainable land use, land tenure security, affordable decent housing, and organized urban development. And our mission is to ensure sustainable land management, orderly development, and adequate for all. And the mandate and vision of ULC has already been well articulated. Maybe just to add that the mandate of ULC is to hold and manage any land in Uganda vested or acquired by government of Uganda in accordance with the provision of the Constitution and other functions. And the vision was already articulated. And then we have the national, we're on page 4. We have the National Housing and Construction Company. This is a semi-autonomous body established in 1974. The National Housing Construction Company Limited was repealed, and a new law enacted, National Housing and Construction Corporation. Subsequently, in 2002, the National Housing Corporation was privatized under the Public Enterprises Reform and Divestiture Act 1993 as a commercial enterprise and named National Housing and Construction Company Limited. A chair, it is a shareholding limited company, and the Ministry of Finance, which represents government of Uganda, has 51% of the shares. The Minister of Investment, the government of Libya has 49. I think that was a typo. So as government, we have 51. Then Libya has 49. No, government has 49 shares and 51 to Libya. I think there was a confusion here. The government of Uganda has 51%, and then the government of Libya has 49%, making them 100%. And the vision is to use home ownership to enhance household wealth and living standards for every Ugandan. On page 5, that is the structure of the ministry, just like I had highlighted. On page 6, we have about, the ministry has 11 departments. Department of Land Inspectorate, which is responsible for land management institutions in the country. Surveys and mapping, responsible for survey and geodetic control, quality checks of cadastral jobs, survey of government land, international boundaries, production and printing of topographic maps, and also responsible for producing the national atlas. Then we have a Department of Land Registration, which is in charge of issuance of certificates of titles, general conveyancing, and keeping custody of the National Land Register, and many others. Then Department of Land Valuation, which is responsible for developing and implementation sound policy and legal framework for valuation services, supervision of land acquisition for government projects, as well as providing timely and reliable valuation services in the country. Then we have Department of Physical Planning, which is responsible for, again, policy and giving technical backstopping relating to urban and regional planning. Then the Department of Urban Development, which is in charge of a formulation of policies, regulations, laws, and standard setting for orderly urban development. Then Department of Land Use, Regulation, Compliance, and Enforcement, which is responsible for formulating land use-related policies, plans, regulation, assessment of compliance to land use, and enforcement of compliance to physical development plans, and land use regulatory frameworks for orderly development. Then we have Department of Human Settlement, which is again responsible for formulation of policies related to human settlement. Then we have a Department of Housing Development and Estates. This is also responsible for policies, regulations, standards on real estate. Then Department of F&A are responsible for financial management, accounting, administration, personnel, procurement, and others. Then Department of Statistics, Research, Monitoring and Evaluation, also responsible for coordination of statistics development, research, M&E, as well as quality assurance of interventions, projects, processes, and systems within land, housing, and urban development. Honorable members, we also have the National Land Information Center, the one which is situated at Yusuf Rule, and also the 22 ministry zonal offices. And we have highlighted the districts that they support. We have Kampala, Wakiso, Chadondo, Wakiso, Busiro. We have Mpiji, Mukono, Masindi, Guru, then Luwero, Lira, Arua, Soroti, Moroto, Jinja, Mitiana, Masaka, Mbara, Kabarore, Rukunjiri, Kabare, Tororo, Mbare, Chibare. So these are the 22 and the districts they serve. Under the program approach, this ministry is responsible for sustainable urbanization and housing program, and it comprises of the 3 sub-programs: the physical planning and urbanization, housing, land management, and then the the fourth, which is institutional coordination. The program contributes to the fourth objective of NDP4, which is to build and maintain strategic sustainable infrastructure in transport, housing, energy, water, industry, and ICT. So we contribute to this wider goal with other programs like WACS and others. Then the program goal specifically is well-planned and productive urban centers with affordable housing. So the objectives of the program are enlisted there. We are meant to develop and maintain urban infrastructure, waste management systems, strengthen land use management, increase economic opportunities in urban areas, and also promote urban housing market. And lastly, strengthen the policy, legal, institutional, and coordination framework. Chair, we have a number of targets under the NDP4. Number one is to reduce the travel time in the GKMA. This is Greater Kampala Metropolitan, from 4 minutes, 0.14 per kilometer in financial year 2023-2024, 3.5 minutes per kilometer. Then we also have a target to reduce travel time in other cities, which exclude Kampala, from 4.14 minutes per kilometer to 2.02 minutes per kilometers. So to increase speed in our cities. Then number two, on improved urban infrastructure, we need to increase the proportion of urban roads paved from 7.7% to 11.5%, and this is for the entire period of NDP4. Then increase proportion of urban drainage channels constructed from currently 15.6% to 37.6%. Then on improved livability and cleanliness of urban areas, we are looking at reducing the pollution levels from 40 to 25 cubic meters of pollution. Then increased proportion of municipal waste disposed of in gazetted areas. As you know, this has been a very serious issue. I want to reduce it. We want to increase the disposal from 72 to 85%. Then on tenure security, we aim at increasing the documentation of land from 5.7% to 10%. Some of these indicators are measured under the Sustainable Development Goals. Then the next one, level of compliance. As you know, the compliance levels of physical planning, as a member highlighted. So we want to increase from 15% to 50% in the NDP4 period. And then also one on the percentage of cities and municipalities approved physical development plans, we want to increase from 30 to 70%. Then also want to reduce the housing deficit from 2.4 to 1.9. Then we also want to increase the business registration from 30% to 50%, strictly in urban areas. Then also reduce urban unemployment rate from 12.8% to 8.5%. Then improve performance of the Sustainable Urbanization and Housing Program from 33% to 90%. Chair, these are the program strategies which are in NDP4. One is to deliberately invest in Kampala, GKMA, then develop lower level physical development plans to operationalize the National Physical Development Plan, which is already approved. Then develop waste management systems, undertake land tenure security enhancement programs, secure land for infrastructure developments, reform and improve business processes in cities and urban areas, to facilitate private sector development. Deliberately provide for housing financing. Then implement participatory and all-inclusive planning, implementation, and reporting mechanism. Chair, I'll not repeat the institutional framework of the program because I already highlighted. So we go to the page 15, which shows the program intervention. I have already highlighted them, but now it shows the budgets per each intervention for the next 5 years. So the total program budget is 17.3 trillion for the period of the NDP 4. On page 17, if I move fast, Chair, you may, in the interest of time, you may alert me. We go to the operations of the ministry. Chair, we have guiding policy and legal frameworks, and I will just highlight them. Number 1, National Land Policy 2013. This is a framework that provides for efficient, equitable, and optimal utilization and management of land. Then we have the National Land Use Policy. This aims at achieving sustainable and equitable socio-economic development through optimal land management and utilization. Then we have the National Housing Policy 2016, which is a framework that promotes adequate housing for all. Then, Chair, we have the National Urban Policy 2017, which aims at promoting livable urban areas that are organized, inclusive, productive, and sustainable. Then we continue with the legal frameworks. The Land Act, Cap 236, Land Acquisition Act, Cap 226, Surveyors Registration Act, Cap 275, then Registration of Titles Act, Cap 230, then Mortgage Act 2009, Physical Planning Act, Cap 142, Condominium Act 2001, Landlord and Tenant Act 2022, that's 2022, Physical Planners Registration Act 2022. Chair, you will note that there is the naming regime of the acts, but some of these acts are as old as 1960s, and they are now under review. The status update on physical planning mandate in the country. Honorable members, as you may be aware, during the rationalization of agencies and public expenditure exercise, RAPEX, the government transferred the physical planning function from Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development to National Planning Authority. However, during implementation of government decision, challenges were experienced, and His Excellency the President guided that the physical planning function should be returned to the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. The process of amending the Physical Planning Act, Cap 142, has commenced with a view of returning the physical planning functions to the ministry, as guided by His Excellency, the President. Physical development plans implement the National Physical Development Plan by translating the vision and the plan into spatial dimension using the spatial data in the Land Information System, survey and mapping, urban development, land administration, land registration, etc. The globally related physical planning hierarchy and practice is illustrated below. Chair, because of the confusion that took place when the physical planning function was transferred to a national planning authority, there were different understanding of physical planning. But this is the non-hierarchy. We start with the Vision 2040, then the National Development Plans. So when the NPA, which is in charge of the strategic planning of this country, that plan is translated into the spatial dimension through a national physical development plan. In other words, when National Planning Authority says we need to have a city here, then it should be spatially planned. You can call them technical drawings. Then from the National Physical Development Plan, we have regional plans. Then we go to district physical development plans, urban physical development plans, then local physical development plans. So that is the hierarchy. As you can see, there is a strategic planning which considers all plans in the country, including health, energy, works, and then the subsequent plans which translate those higher plans into the spatial dimension for easy understanding, but also locations, looking at the location of those interventions as guided by the National Development Plan of the country. Chair, the legislative program for 2025-2026, we have the Uganda Land Commission Bill, which is currently in the draft stage. Then the Physical Planning Act, where the principles, this is the one meant to return the functions which had got lost to National Planning Authority. The principles were approved by Cabinet, so the drafting is already ongoing, Chair. Then number 3, the National Land Acquisition, Resettlement and Rehabilitation Policy. The status is that we have the draft and it has been submitted to Cabinet and also submitted to Cabinet Secretariat for review. Then Valuation Bill 2024, this is already here in Parliament and is on the order paper for tomorrow for the second reading. Then Real Estate Bill, we have the third draft and is still with the Parliament, Parliament Council in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Then the amendment of Survey Act, it is still in the proposal form. Then the amendment of the Surveyors Registration Act, also a proposed amendment. Amendment of registration of titles Act Cap 230, it's a proposed amendment. Then amendment of the Land Act Cap 236, also proposed amendment. Then amendment of Architects Registration Act Cap 269, proposed amendment. And the Urban Development and Management Law. Still, this is a proposed law. It's not, it is for development. Because, Chair, government approved cities, 10 cities which are operational, and other mushrooming urban centers, but they don't have an enabling law. So currently we are using the local government law, which may not give its emphasis and outlook that is deemed fit for urban development in the country. Then this is the budget for the for the program. If you look, Chair, just in summary, you can see that the share of the national budget under the ministry over the years, we have been staggering in 0.3% of the national budget. And so the funding is still very small. Then the ministry requirement under the strategic plan versus the approved budget for over the years, again, you can see that we are still staggering around maybe 10% on average over the years. Chair, on page 22, you could see that the funding requirement for the ministry has only been increasing, although we have a sharp drop because, of course, some of the activities we left them, but you can see that the funding requirement is still very high. Chair, if you look at the graph next, unfortunately the colors are not there, but if you look at the toll bars, that's external financing. And if you look at this dim, the second last bar, that is GOU development. Then non-wage is the third last bar, then the wage. Thank you. So, Chair, you could see that the ministry highly depends on the external financing. If you can see the toll bars, our wage has almost remained stagnant over the years. The non-wage has also been oscillating and fluctuating, and the GOU development also follows the same pattern. So in essence, the budget has not been consistent. But what is clear, what is very significant is that the ministry depends on external financing, as I will demonstrate later. Chair, these are some of the outcome performance of the ministry over the years. What we started with, we are on a program level. Now we are to the ministry directly, vote 012. If you look at the percentage of land registered, we have been increasing from 2016, 2017. So now we have increased up to 30%. That is row 1, if you can see. Then 2, percentage of land titles owned by women. This is very important for gender budgeting. You can see also there is some improvement. We are now on 29%. So still the men still hold more titles than women. Then average time taken to register land. Chair, this used to be a very serious problem, but now we have reduced to 15 days for land registration, especially the transfer, but also the title, the first title when it reaches at the minister's own office. So this does not cater for the period taken from the lower lower land management institution. It is at the minister's own office when we receive, when the documents are lodged. Then the average time to undertake the land search, this is now in minutes, Chair. Initially it was a big problem just to get a search statement. But now we receive it in minutes because this specific process is online. There is an online portal. Then total revenues generated, also this has increased over the years. As you can see, to date, we generate, this is only in land information system, we generate 74 billion in the land information system alone, without other revenue generation centers. Then proportion of adult population transacting in land also it has increased. Then percentage change in land-related conflicts. The change has also reduced, if you look at the current one, at minus 31. But you can see it keeps changing. Some years the conflicts are high, it is positive. Where it is positive, that means they have shot above the roof, but when it is negative, it shows reduction. So we are seeing some reduction in 2023, 2024. Then percentage of districts with district physical development plans. Chair, you can see we are performing badly here. We are now at 18%, which ordinarily we are supposed to be at 100% because planning should come faster than development. Then the compliance to land use regulatory framework stands at 58.3%. Then the housing stock, though it is increasing, but the deficit is high. But you can see there is some steady increase in the housing stock, but the demand is higher than the supply. Then the proportion of urban population living in slums, again this is staggering, but generally it is very high. Having such population, 52.7% in informal settlement, is quite very dangerous. Then the budget for next year, for this year, Chair, stands as follows compared to last year. Wage, we stand at 16.691 billion. Non-wage, 99.9. This is 100 billion in a round off. Then GOE development, 42.576 billion. Then external finance, 86.454 billion. So the total, the grand total, is 245.72 billion. But Chair, you'd see that there is a significant reduction in our budget from 252.215 to 245.72 in this financial year. Chair, also again, that is at program level. At program level, Chair, you can see, without going into the details, that the variance is still very high. So during the entire NDP 3, you can see our budget, we are staggering we are financed up to the tune of 46.52%. So that's why we could not actually meet most of our commitments under NDP 3. We go to page 25. Chair, again, the key program results, how we performed under the NDP 3. These were our results then, which are not in the NDP. Some have appeared again in NDP 4, but this is how we performed. On the decreasing the urban employment rate, at the NDP 3, when we are starting it, we are at 14.4%, and our target was 9.4, but we achieved at 13.4. At least there was a reduction from 14. Then reduce the acute housing deficit. The housing deficit at the beginning of NDP 3 was 2.2, and our target was to reach 1.7 million housing units, but instead the deficit has increased. So that is really, again, not a good position. Then we wanted also to decrease the percentage of urban dwellers from 60% to 40%. We reduced to 52.7, although we didn't meet the target. Then decrease the average travel time per kilometer in GKMA. We wanted to reduce from 4.1 to 3.5, but we staggered. There was no reduction. Other members think that the travel time has rather increased, but this is the measurement that is available. Then increase the proportion of tarmacked roads in the total urban road network. At the beginning, we had 6.1%, and our aim was to increase to 12.2%, but we have been able to reduce by 2 percentage points up to 8.1%. This is majorly under USMID program. Then improve the efficiency of solid waste collection. Chair, our target was to increase to 50% from 30%, but we overshot to 72% in cities especially. That's where our performance was very high. Chair, so let me go straight to revenue generation. Honorable members, the ministry has continued to demonstrate its potential to contribute to the national treasury, on average 669 billion through various sources under the ministry. Chair, we contribute significantly to the treasury, although our funding is still meager. I will go straight to the table on page 26. This is how we contribute to the treasury under the property tax valuation, the capital gains valuation, probate valuation assessments, rental valuation assessments, stamp duty assessments, other valuations, then the NTR. So in total, in 2023-2024 alone, Chair, we contributed 716 billion shillings to the National Treasury. But you saw the budget, Chair, the two are not correlated. Since the operationalization of the 22 zonal offices and rollout of the land information system in financial year 2017-2018, the Ministry revenue generation tremendously increased, and in financial year 2023, as I've already said, 716 billion was generated. And we feel, Chair, that with the implementation of the land valuation management information system and integration with the land information system, we shall streamline valuation, and revenue is expected to more than double in the medium term. So, Chair, we are harnessing efficiency gains under those two systems. And, Chair, this is an outlook on how much the land information system has been able to generate over the years cumulatively. That is around 1 trillion. So, Chair, we go to programs and projects under the ministry. One, we start with donor funds, funded projects. I had earlier highlighted that the ministry is majorly supported by external finance. USMID 1, Chair, which ran from 2013 to 2018, had a budget of $150 million US, and a lot was done, as I will highlight in the next page. Then USMID 2, on page 28, honorable members, USMID 2, or what we call USMID AF, USMID additional financing, had the funding of 360 million, and so in total for this program called Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development Program, generally and normally known as USMID, has had the funding of $510 million US over the 10 years. The program closed on June 30th, 2024. It registered 100% disbursement, which was special drawing right, 346.4 million, equivalent to $483 million US from the World Bank. The deviations in figures is based on the special drawing rights and the dollar exchange rates. So the funds were utilized. 84% of the funds were transferred to cities, municipalities for infrastructure improvement. Then 16% was used for program implementation and institutional support. So, Chair, this is where the project covered the 10 cities: Arua, Guru, Fort Portal, Hoima, Mbale, Jinja, Masaka, Soroti, Lira, and Mbarara. These were the now, when USMID was starting, these were just municipalities. So it graduated with them to cities. Then 12 municipalities: Moroto, Apak, Kabare, Mtunga, Entebbe, Mubende, Rugazi, Kamuri, Kitugum, Toro, Busia, and Kasese. These are still municipalities, although I think Parliament declared them as cities waiting for operationalization. Then the 11 refugee hosting districts: Ajumani, Arua, Isingiro, Kamwenje, Chidiandongo, Lamo, Madiokoro, Obing, Terego, Moyo, and Yombe. Sorry for the pronunciation. Obonji. Or Obongi. So the following were achieved under the program of USMID. A total of 279 urban roads measuring approximately 214 kilometers have been rehabilitated and upgraded to asphalt, concrete pavement standard. These roads have different carriageway width, with some dual while others are single. Chair, these are urban development standards. It is not, if you have seen Guru roads, Mubende, and all these other areas, the roads are a little bit different from our usual roads. Then, in addition to the carriageway, the roads have necessary accessories that include solar, street lights, pedestrian walkways, cycle lanes, parking lots, greening, service utility ducts, drainage channels, among others. The program supported development of stormwater drainage master plans, solid waste management strategies for each municipality. So, Chair, maybe when you go for M&E, these are the things you will be interested to look at. 407.2 kilometers of community roads, 17 markets, 8 playgrounds, 21 resource centers, 1 leisure parks in these 11 districts were also done by USMID. Then 12 local economic developments are projects, and these include tax park in Arua, in Tororo, the first phase of tax park also in Entebbe municipality, bus terminal in Moroto, a lorry park in Fort Portal. All these were completed by USMID. Then also the tax park in Busia, the slaughterhouse in Hoima, beautification of Rebi Corner parking area in Mbara City, and Coronation Park and Children's Park in Rira City, the tax park, market stalls, and Mayor Gardens. So the second phase of Chitoro tax park in Entebbe also was completed. Then also prepared 7,180 free whole land titles for improved tenure security in refugee hosting districts. The program also supported city and municipal institutional capacity. This aimed at enabling cities and municipalities to perform efficiently. The program supported establishment of systems to enhance revenue. Chair, on this note, I must say that the revenue for the cities have increased from initially the World Bank had targeted increment of 10%, but this program surpassed to 15%. So 5 percentage points more than what was targeted. So although the first phase of USMID achieved most of its objectives, the program closed on 30th June 2024. And so, Chair, what is happening now is that the ministry is processing the next phase of the program, and it is called Uganda Cities and Municipal Infrastructure Development Project, UCHMID, with a C. The other one has only S, Uganda Support. So this is with the C. So this one covers every municipality and every city. So here there is no need to say why have you left out my municipality. So it is still under appraisal stage, and the World Bank has, the President has already cleared, and the World Bank has also indicated funding of the project. Then, Chair, the second project, which also closed, is the Sept. It just closed. That's why we presented it, because some of its activities are still in the finalization, the residue activities. So the World Bank, through the IDA, was supporting the government of Uganda to implement Sept, what we call Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Project, which was approved in May 2013 and became effective on 6 June 2014 and officially closed 30th June 2020. This was the first. And then we got the second one, which also came effective on 6 April 2021. The project was restructured in June 2022, and it ended in May 2024. And the official closure date was later extended to 30th November 2024. So the project implemented under 5 components. Component 1 is land administration reform, where we are as the Ministry of Lands. So the rest of other components are under the tourism, and the other one is the project implementation. The overall goal on page 31 of the land component of Sept was to consolidate, enhance, and scale up land sector policy and institutional reforms, and to create an enabling environment that will contribute and eliminate key constraints to the cost of doing business and Uganda international competitiveness. So, Chair, that program was funded at a tune of 54 million. This is the first phase, and it was able to achieve the following. 1, established and launched the call center at the National Land Information Center, which is aimed to pick all land issues, and they are consolidated and handled. Then functionalized and launched the UGNLIS, Uganda National Land Information System portals, trained call center agents, developed and launched the public and corporate portals, developed and piloted the land valuation management information system, which I talked about, organized the Mbarara and Oyam circuits, in which all the land administration files for beneficiaries in Mbarara city and districts of Mbarara. So this is where SLAC, what we call SLAC, systematic land adjudication and certification, took place. And also it parceled out 391,490 parcels, of which 132,652 freehold titles have already been produced. Then launched the master's course in land management. This is at Makerere. Then integrated the Uganda National Land Information System with Judiciary System, URA, Building Review Board, and others. Then also facilitated the 921 CLAs, which have been formalized and registered in Karamoja. Then this is the project chair that is in charge of the National Land Information System, and now we have enhanced it to version 7. It also established the 40 continuous operating reference systems and enhanced the Uganda National Geodetic Reference Framework. Chair, this framework is used to make sure the surveys, the quality of surveys, is upheld so that your boundaries don't shift during the surveying or the accuracy. There are no margins of errors. Then a total of 653 parish physical development plans and 182 sub-counties and town council physical development plans developed. So, Chair, these are some of the highlights of what the project was able to do. Then we have the GOU-funded projects. The first two were externally funded, USMID and Sept. Then the GOU, we have the land valuation infrastructure project, and it has been able to achieve the following: market research on property values to make sure that the values, you achieve the quality of valuation. These market values must be updated because of the market changes. Then the land values correction software developed so that we host, so that we can have the data bank for all the land values, so that the ministry does not have to rely on wrong values when doing valuations. Then data bank for compensation rates updated. Again, this is to improve quality of valuation for compensation. Then better version of the data bank for compensation rates developed and tested. Then an MOU has been signed between Ministry of Lands and UBOS for the collection of data on property yields and indices. So the project is supporting UBOS to have the property index, the first national property index developed. The national land acquisition for 620 government infrastructure projects monitored. Then develop the technical requirements and terms of reference for engagement of a consultant to develop the land valuation management information system. So this is a small project, a GOU funded, which was supporting some of these small activities. Then there is a new project which the minister talked about. It's called Land Economic Competitiveness Project. Chair, in his opening remark, talked about land being the factor of production. So this project aims to scale up that economic, the economic competitiveness of land, so that you bring out land as not only the factor of production, but also a factor of credit. So it aims at higher economic outcomes, including increase in revenue generation, increased tenure security, create 1 million jobs, especially in real estate for the period of 5 years, then unlock up to 10% of country's debt capital, and increase land-backed credit uptake by 10% to improve small-scale and medium enterprises. So the project targets 40 local governments across the country, and it is in its first year of operation. No, this is its second year, with the project's first leg covering 10 districts of Chitargwenda, Ibanda, Kamwenje, Kazo, Chiruhura, Shema, Rwampara, Ntungamo, Chegegwa, and Chikube. The aim is to cover the whole country. So the project achievements so far are 2,640 land parcels surveyed in Chitargwenda and Kazo, then reconnaissance visits conducted in districts of Ibanda, Kamwenje, Chiruhura, Shema, Rwampara, and Tungamo. And some of these areas already, the parcels and the data has been picked. Then 16 GNSS, these are survey equipments procured for SLAC in project areas, and 12 computers support works of the district land offices and district land board. So the aim also is to build the capacity of districts to do their own surveying without having to call on the ministry all the time. So these survey equipments have been provided to the districts because it is the most factor driving the cost of surveying in the country. Then institutional strengthening of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. This is also a new project which is commencing this financial year. It is aimed to support the program to meet its objectives, majorly through retooling. Chair, on page 35, these are critical and funded activities. I will just read them. Wage, we have a shortfall of 6.5. LIS, Land Information Management and Enhancement System, we have a shortfall of 6.9 billion. Then Minister Zone Offices, the operation of those 22 Minister Zone Offices, we have a shortfall of 11.4 billion. Then affirmation of international borders and national boundaries. Chair, this is a very serious issue. It has created paralysis in border communities. We have a shortfall of 51 billion. Then develop and maintain urban infrastructure under UCHMID program, including support to development of physical development plans and land use. We have a shortfall of 70.5 billion. Chair, there was money which was provided under UCHMID, but it has not yet been effective. So this money is not yet available for use, although we had captured it since it is in the budget. Then operationalization / rollout of LAVMIS, this is Land Valuation Management Information System, and development of property index. We have a shortfall of 6 billion. Then number 7, arrears payment and subscription to Shelter Freak. Shelter Freak is an organization, an international organization, financial organization, whose objective is to scale up housing in its member states. So if we can fully subscribe to Shelter Freak, we can unlock the funding to the housing sector. But we have a shortfall of 17.8 billion for subscription. Then review and implementation of the legal frameworks. Chair, as I highlighted, most of our legal and policy frameworks are quite archaic, and new things have happened, so we need to review them and also implement them. We have a shortfall of 35 billion. Then scale up of SLAC, systematic land adjudication and certification. This is titling, mass titling in the whole country, which is estimated at 1 trillion across all the regions. We have a shortfall of 970 billion. Then establishment and operationalization of physical planners registration bill, we have a shortfall of 5 billion. Then institutional strengthening, we have a shortfall of 13.56 billion. Then compensation for land in Mukono, Bukasa Portland, and resettlement of 2,500 families, we have a shortfall of 17.6. Then land compensation to ranchers, kingdoms, Kampala Diocese, among others. The list is too big. We have a shortfall of 227 billion. Then relocation to pave way for construction of offices for Parliament. Chair, the Chair ULC raised this issue. Parliament wished to take our premises. So for us to construct our own premises and relocate, we have a shortfall of 127 billion. Chair, as I conclude, we have a number of projects which are in the pipelines, which, if supported, will enhance our funding. We have the UCHMID, which is at appraisal and negotiation at a cost of 2.7 trillion. Then infrastructure corridor development project. Chair, you know, government has declared a number of corridors, but they are not planned. The project is at pre-feasibility at a cost of 194 billion. Then secondary cities infrastructure project. Chair, as we are focusing on main urban centers and cities, but there are these cities, what we call urban centers around the cities, which are also mushrooming. So we need to arrest the situation before it gets out of hand. It's a project aimed to address that. It is at pre-feasibility study. at a cost of 464. Then a decent affordable housing project. This is supposed to provide at a mass scale the low-cost housing in the country. You saw the deficit is 2.4 million housing units. Most of our population is living in appalling environment. So this project is at pre-feasibility study at a cost of 854 billion. Then Uganda Support Town Councils Infrastructure Development Project. This project is at concept level. This project aims to also make sure that these town councils, as they come up, they have the requisite infrastructure. So it's a replica of USMID in all other urban centers. Then integrated waste management project. This is at concept level at a cost of 2.9 trillion, 3 trillion almost. This is supposed to establish robust waste management systems in the entire country, such that every region has a waste management facility, so that we arrest situations like the Chitezi, where we lost people out of waste slides. Then number 7, land and housing infrastructure development project. Most of our slums are unreachable. So this is aimed at bringing the infrastructure in the slums and provide some of the facilities like water, electricity, but also upgrade them with some low-cost housing, maybe with models like rent-to-own and others. Then integrated spatial planning and digitization project. Chair, this project is at concept stage. It is aimed at scaling up physical planning in the country and also digitize plans so that you can check your plans on your phone. You don't have to, first go to the urban center to know what should be done where. So you can be the eyes, even of government. If someone is building on the road, you can scroll and see that this one is building in the wrong place. So this is aimed to also arrest that kind of disorderliness. Number 9, Chair, Urban Productivity and Regeneration Project, which will cost 1.7 trillion. It is at concept level. This project, Chair, is aimed at putting down all these areas where the situation looks bad, like the slums, or like Kampala Road, the entire Kampala Road. If the infrastructure there or the housing there is not befitting, in other cities, they have regenerated their cities. So that cities can be worth called cities. Then number 10, Urban Spatial Planning Project. Also, this is a physical planning project, but focusing only on urban areas. It is at concept level. So these projects are in the pipeline, and we hope once they are approved, they will change the face of land, housing, and urban development. I will run through the challenges quickly, Chair. One of the challenges we are facing is the transfer of physical planning function to NPA. So somehow there is some contradictions and duplications of work which is not necessary. Then 2, obsolete laws. I talked about it. Then misalignment. Chair, this committee will face some difficulty in understanding the land component which is under natural resources program. And as you can see, there are members still of land here. So there is misalignment between, maybe I can say, the ministry structure and the program structure. And the same applies also to the committee. This is the Committee of Lands, and you are now handling also issues to do with housing, urban development, physical planning. So, but that one is not big, but in performance of your duties, it can be a bit confusing, especially when you invite the program. If you invite the program, sometimes the lands people are not supposed to be here. They are supposed to wait until natural resources or the committee responsible for natural resources is invited. Then historical land injustices, which were talked about, inadequate staffing, increasing land disputes and conflicts, a widespread of encroachment on public land, government and protected land, lack of property value data bank, we talked about it, we are developing it, lack of the urban development law. Our cities are there, all these urban centers are mushrooming, but they don't have an enabling law like other countries have done. Then maybe the next question is, why haven't you started? But that is something that the committee will also look at. Then inadequate urban infrastructure is still a very big deficit in urban infrastructure. Then poor waste management in urban centers, low levels of land registration. We are only at 30%, and you know what that means. That means the rest of the land is prone to serious conflicts, or illegal, or grabbing and other things. Then low levels of physical planning, only at 15%. This is quite very appalling for a country aimed at growing the GDP by 10-fold. Then increasing housing, increasing the deficit. The deficit is increasing, so we need to arrest this before it gets to appalling levels. Chair, actually on the housing deficit, this is the low value. The National Housing Construction Company did another study that put the deficit at 7 million housing units. So you can see the entire population, the biggest population, is in either living in substandard housing or there is mushrooming homelessness. And this situation can only escalate. Inadequate funds to effectively implement the policies, laws, and regulations, lack of resources for training and facilitating land management institutions. Chair, this is also a serious issue because when these management institutions are not up to the task, they will start giving out land which does not belong to them. They will start doing any form of mischiefs that are likely to polarize already the land question, the already disturbing land question. There are many actions, Chair. One is to review all the laws, develop policies, lobby government for the wage, revenue mobilization, intensify project development, the ones which I talked about, and also implement the land information system. It is operational, but we need to enhance it. And Chair, we are also going into the blockchain technology to further tighten the security. Then the program procured 22 garbage trucks, so we need to scale up. Then capacity building, we need to increase the capacity building. Then implement the implementation of USMID at support urban infrastructure. So in other words, to implement the USMID which is coming. Then coordinate the development and implementation of physical development plans to scale up physical planning in the country. Then carry out public sensitization. Chair, as you know, land issues can be misunderstood very easily if there is no sensitization. Then develop the land information system. This we need now to roll it out. Then standards, we need to roll them out, the national valuation standards which are in place. Then enforcement of land use compliance framework so that the developments which are not complying can be challenged. Then implementation of systematic land demarcation and education. This is the mass titling in simple terms for the whole country. Then strengthen litigation office under the Department of Land Registration to handle the mushrooming cases. Then subscription shelter freak. Then establishment of the mortgage refinancing institution, which is already in Parliament. We feel this will create facilities that will upscale housing in the country. Chair, as we conclude, I want to thank you on behalf of the Minister. I should conclude, I think this is our conclusion, but I want to thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Honorable Minister, do you have anything to add, or we go to the members in case of any comment? Okay, honorable members, you know sugar levels are going down. It's coming to 2. Let us be as brief as we can so that we do not get problems here. Any comment, please be brief so that we can conclude. Clerk, assist us, deliver one copy to the Minister for signing so that we can refer to a signed copy while presenting back before the House. Yes, Honorable Muhammad.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, the technical bench of Minister of Lands. I heard you mentioning about the speed on how you are handling registrations of titles. It is amazing because in my constituency, maybe, I don't know whether you, Minister, you hate my constituency. Even yesterday, we had a bishop complaining, Bishop of Western Korea, about 13 land titles have taken about 5 months in Mbarara registry and other areas. So if you tell me that it can take 15 days to register titles, then should I take it as if it is only in Kampala, or it works also in urban areas? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Nyangweso Dennis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for the opportunity, and I want to thank the Ministry for a very elaborate presentation. At least now we have a picture of what's going on in the Ministry. I have a few issues to raise. One is on the issue of the Physical Planning Board. And I want to thank the Minister because at one time we saw correspondences from the President and we thought it was social media. But I think we want to thank you for timely trying to address this issue of housing the Physical Planning Board at the Ministry. Because I think during RAPEX, when we had of National Planning Authority and Physical Planning Board, the planning the other side must have guided the wrong decision of trying to put the board under the authority. But we want to urge you, Honorable Minister, to fast track the bringing back of the board to the Ministry such that that challenge of operation which you have highlighted in your report can be cured. Number 2, in your remarks, Honorable Minister, on the issue of the salaries of the Uganda Land Commission, I know there is a challenge of the board or the commission working part-time. But we already have a case already that was pronounced on by court, the case of the Judicial Service Commission, where the members went to court and challenged their payments as part-time, whereas they are members of the commission. And the court agreed with them, whereas they have continued to operate part-time. The issue of salaries was decided. So you can use that to pursue such that the commission members can have their entitlements, even if it means changing their terms of appointment to full-time. Because the chair says he has a challenge of mobilizing members when there are decisions, meetings to be held. So once the issue of pay is settled, the operations can also be settled because there will be no challenge of payment. So I pray that you fast track this matter. Madam Minister, on the payment by landlords, we have also had a challenge, maybe a rumor, which we would like you to clarify, that when it comes to payments of absentee landlords, at times money is sent to the Land Commission to pay. At times the decision is made by the Minister of Finance to directly pay. Why that discrepancy? Because if it is a function of the Uganda Land Commission, then the money meant to compensate the absentee landlords should be paid by the Land Commission. But this financial year, land money for the same purpose is paid by the Ministry of Finance. The next time in the budget, they send the money to the Land Commission. Is it the amounts which determine who should pay? If there are less amounts, the Commission is the one to pay. If there are huge amounts, the Minister of Finance is the one to pay. Why that discrepancy? And lastly, Madam Minister, the wage shortfall of 6.5 billion. This is very huge. I would like to know at what staffing levels in terms of percentage is the ministry operating. We have had a challenge. Instead of government bringing in money to fill the gaps, they instead undergo restructuring. So you restructure ministry that you have not supported to operate 100%. Then you restructure, you create more positions, and you even complicate now the wage bill because you are not able to fund. At 6.5 billion shortfall, at what staffing level are you operating at the ministry? Because this is very serious. We should support you to get this money such that you fully perform your duties and functions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nyangwe. So let's have Honorable Ingola.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'd like to thank the Minister with her team for this submission. Honorable Chair, I have a few issues to raise. One is on page 6 on Department of Land Inspectorate together with land registration, because I do imagine that the officials handling this are trained and they have the goodwill. Now, on Land Inspectorate, well, I stand to be corrected. I've seen several areas, especially wetlands, wetland areas, constructions are going on. I don't know what the policy is. That is a concern to me. People are just building, so I need to be educated on that. Further, on land registration, we have situations where individuals, you find two individuals are stuck with titles, one plot, two titles issued. So that is very stressing. So we want to be told on what to do. 3, Honorable Chair, is on the ministry's budget, because I read from page 22 that they depend on external financing. I find this very tricky and worrying. They need to look into this. Otherwise, we may have issues as a ministry and as government. Further, Honorable Chair, I want to be told how, that is on page 25, how they are going to reduce or decrease urban unemployment rate. in this country, and also reducing the housing deficit. Because when you move around places like Kasoko Soko, those are slum areas, and there are quite many. How are you going to do this? Please let us know as a committee. Finally, Chair, this is very, very important to me as a politician on youth meet. Now, Apache municipality, that's my district, you are telling me that the project has been closed, and yet the works on ground in Apache municipality is not complete 100%. So that is worrying, Honorable Chair. I need to say this, and this is the truth. This will affect my votes in 2026. Why? I am the only NRM there, government, because you know that is the home of the late President Milton Obote. So they'll be looking at me, that is you doing this project as government. Why isn't it not complete? So I wish they could complete it in this government, this Kisanja, so to speak, so that I can also smile. It's very important. What I don't see is the details they put here. Street lights, yes, that's very good. I'm happy with that. I don't see cycle lanes for my bicycles or for our bicycles. I don't see that. Parking lots, I've not seen. Greening, flowers, I've not seen. Drainage, no. So those are some of the issues I wanted to raise. Please help me respond to these issues that I've put across. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngora. Now let's have Honorable Orobo and Honorable Tebandeke, then we conclude with Honorable Kuru. Try to be brief.
Yeah, mine is brief, Chair. Thank you. One is about support to the zonal offices. Say you give support to the zonal offices. There was a time I went to the zonal office of Soroti. They didn't even have a printer to print out the titles. Honorable Minister knows I have interest there because I knew him when he was the regional police commander of that area. Up to now, I've not got the title, 8 months ago. And there is an issue with Leda Diocese. I'm the chairman planning committee of Leda Diocese. I think the matter is before the minister of some land there. It has now taken 2 years. The matter has not been handled up to now. And now the bishop has known that I'm in this land committee. All eyes are on me. Please let me not lose my job. The last one, I have interest in Gulu. You have talked about Usme. The street lights as you enter Gulu, when they was put like 3-4 years ago, but they are no longer shining. When you are going to that time when they were put, when you are entering Gulu, you know I'm entering a city. But go now, they are no longer working. What is happening? Has this contractor give us fake things or not? I think those are my points.
Thank you. That's about the quality of services delivered by Westmead Project. Honorable Tebandeke.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, wouldn't it be important that you revise the cabinet decision of removing the land fund? Because most of your mission, objectives, and whatever you have spelled out is in the mandate of the Land Commission. And it looks irrelevant to have a commission without the fund. Honorable Minister, why you remove the land fund? Do you want to mean that you amended Section 42, subsection 3 and 4 of the Land Act? Because whatever activities you are doing under systematic land adjudication and certification, SLAC, land sector strategic plan of 2001 to 11, of issuance of land title, and especially to people on public land, should be backed up by section 42(3) of the Land Act. For instance, money to form part of the land fund shall be derived from money appropriated by Parliament, a loan obtained by government, grants from donors, and this is the very money which the ministry is using, exceptional of the mandate of the land fund. Isn't it this abuse of the law and misuse of the law? Then, when you look at subsection 4 of the same, on how this money is supposed to be used, it is in the clear guideline that the fund shall be utilized for the following: to give loan to the tenants, as spelled out in his report, to help government purchase land to the registered tenants, which roles have been specified by the Secretary of the Land Fund. So now my question is, if you removed the fund and you left the commission, where is the commission getting the money? And if the section of the law was not amended, where does the ministry get the powers to use the fund, which would be in the domicile management of the land fund? Isn't that an abuse of the law? And with the time, won't it raise some other legal issues that may make the ministry look shabby? Honorable Minister, another question is about the former public land, where leases were issued on such land. That is the lease acquired before the 1995 Constitution on the public land. Such land has been occupied by very many people over the country, especially here in Uganda. And when you look at the lease agreement of such leases, some of them acquired such leases for cattle ranch, others for industrialization, others for farming, which land leases are now occupied by tenants who are seated on them, and they are now lawful occupants. Which guidelines, which policy, which directive does the government have to safeguard our people to attain security of occupancy on such public land? Lastly, Honorable Minister, I wanted more to be updated on your working relationship between the ministry and institutions created by the President, the land divisions. I see more or less the functions are the same, but certainly ministry sits on the job or the division, and again, it may also raise conflicts, fights on the ground. I have an issue of the land, Honorable Minister, in my constituency at Vutalabuna, Kayonza sub-county, which is being where people were evicted by the one called the Penina Award. Your colleague, the Honorable State Minister, came on ground, gave another directive together with the local authorities. On leave, again, another officer from the Land Tribunal State House comes and gives another directive. People are fighting over the same land, but the same government giving two parallel orders at a go. What is your working relationship? And why should it happen? If the commission was removed to avoid expenses or to reduce expenses, why should such divisions be created? And where do they get money to spend? Is it okay in good faith and in public interest to revise cabinet decision and we go back to the normal track where we can move on so well. Lastly, Honorable Chair, I'm very sorry. How did the harm come to take over the construction and the management of Nachivubo Channel? Was it through a bid? Was it by public invitation? Or it was by divine appointment? And if some other parties are also interested, how would you guide? What should they do? Personally, I'm interested also in having the same development. Which procedures, which chances, which luck that will land on my way to benefit from over the same and also show performance to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Tebandeke. Maybe for emphasis, Honorable Minister, Honorable Tebandeke wants to know what you really want. What does the government want to chew by bypassing the land fund? Can we have Honorable Kuro? You have something. Try to be very brief. Honorable members are tired. Our visitors are also tired.
Thank you very much, Chair and Honorable Minister, for a very nice presentation. I have two issues. One, Honorable Minister, land is a very, very sensitive matter, almost in every part of the country. I come from Eastern Uganda, and we have customary ownership of land. And you will find that the people who are usually evicted from the land are the elderly and the women. I wanted to ask what the ministry, or is there an agency the ministry is working with, or the partner the ministry is working with to help these people get their land titles? Two, Honorable Minister, I wanted to know your working relationship with the Ministry of Local Government, because there are some instances whereby administrative units fight for boundaries. There was a real fight between Katakwi and a district called Napak, which caused a hatred between the people of Napak and the people of Katakwi. Why can't the ministry come up with original maps of each administrative unit, and these units are given to the district officials, so that the people in that district or administrative unit know the boundary? The reason why I'm mentioning that, we have a problem within the boundary between Soroti and Katakwi. There is a very big wetland there called the Kapujan, and you'll find that big vast land is occupied by people who keep cattle. They take their cows, they take their goats there, so you'll find that there is a very, very big problem. Everybody is thinking that this area where the cows are belongs to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kuro. Honorable Minister, we also want to guide that the Minister of Lands should work hand in hand with the Office of the Lead of Government Business, because in the legislative agenda from the Office of the Prime Minister does not include any business from the Minister of Lands. Perhaps that's why your bills from Minister of Lands are not being pushed very fast. Honorable Juliet.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mine is on page 33, and it is about the project of the Land Economic Competitiveness 2024-2025. On page 33, my comment is on the project of the Land Economic Competitiveness of the 2024-2025. I can see that the project targets 40 local governments, and we already have a list of the 10 that the project is already working in, and I am wondering about the other 30. Can we kindly have a list of the 30 that will be benefiting? And I'm wondering about what criteria you use to select these local governments. And I request that it is a bit more transparent and fair for the entire country, because now there is a concluded project that was only in one part of the country. Now this one is also in one part. So we do not want to start mentioning districts here, but we request that we have a list of those that are going to benefit in the next phase, so that as a committee we discuss with the ministry about the fair distribution of these projects, since they are just one-offs and just by development partners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable. Here from Honorable Andrew.
Thank you, Chair. I want to just seek clarification from the Honourable Minister and our team. One, majority of your statistics are for 2023, 2024. Is there a particular reason as to why the last 3 years there's no report? When you give the statistics of 30% of the land being titled, that is from 2023, 2024. What is the current status? Actually, from your report, majority report is from 2023, 2024. Secondly, the issue of housing. You're interchangeably using the word decent and affordable. Which one is it? What is decent may not be affordable, and what is affordable may not be decent. So which one is the actual? And what yardstick are we using to make sure that it is actually equitably distributed? Because we're going to have, I foresee a challenge of the rich will be able to get those buildings. That you're going to upgrade a slum, what is the plan that those who are there are also benefiting from it? How will it be affordable, made affordable to them? You made mention of Shelter Africa, but you've shied away from mentioning the amount for subscription. How much do we pay to unlock the 250 billion shillings that you're talking about? It's not mentioned in the funding. You just said we need to give some money for subscription, and then we unlock 250 billion. Thirdly, there's a plan for 1.73 trillion in terms of housing finance for the next 5 years in the NDP that you've talked about, in the before, where you mentioned that in this financial year, in this kind of financial year, it's 148 billion, then you keep on upgrading until it's a total of 1.73 trillion in terms of housing finance. How do you intend to do this? Are you going to invest into a bank? How is affordable housing going to be financed? Then lastly, your proposed amendments, very many amendments to existing laws. But how I wish that you had at least mentioned the objects of those amendments. Why we're amending them? In your opinion, how effective is the current regulatory framework for land management in Uganda? Is there something you want to cure? How I wish you could have just objects for every amendment that you want to propose in the summary that you provided. We do know, for example, in the Land Act, you wish to amend this particular thing, you want to cure this problem, and then we're all aligned. So when the issue comes up, we can also speak authoritatively as a team. And lastly, the issue of sustainability, I was also equally shocked that your budget is 245 billion, 245.72 billion, and you're raising 716 billion. But that is also from 2023 to 2024. The 716 billion. It's from 2023 to 2024. I suspect it could now be higher. So how do we make sure the money that they've raised can also go back to help them to sustain the projects that they've raised? I want to thank you very much, Chair. With permission from the Chair, I would like to invite the Minister to respond to some of the questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. We want to thank you for the support so far extended. I want to ask Smith or the Undersecretary to speak about the land competitiveness project, where the selection of the 40 districts was made. Then also, Undersecretary, you need to talk about the human resource. At what percentage are we, because we have a deficit in the wage bill. Then Commissioner Land Administration, you will talk about the efforts we are doing to address challenges on public land across the country.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On the issue of the 40 local governments which are benefiting from the project. First and foremost, the project has only operated for one financial year and has suffered very serious budget shortfalls. But the criteria considers majorly three things. One, areas with occurrence of conflicts. Then two, areas where we have not had substantial interventions under the previous projects. Then the last one is also on demand. Because we receive quite a variety of demands for titling in the areas, in different areas. So that is the criteria in brief. So the list of the 40 is available, but it can still change depending on the other last criteria of demand. But also the occurrence of conflicts shift from one area to another. So that's a criteria, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Through the Permanent Secretary. My name is Joseph Sembatia, and I'm the Commissioner on Land Administration in the Ministry. Specifically about public land, yes, the current legal framework, specifically talking about the Constitution and the Land Act, do provide enough protection to sitting tenants on the land. Here we are talking about the lawful and bona fide occupants. We do acknowledge the fact that some lessees, people who acquired land before 1995, we are processing these leases from Uganda Land Commission as the controlling authority then. And some of the lessees never took possession of the land in question. So what the ministry is attempting to do is to specifically look at these cases on a case-by-case basis, specifically to understand the ramifications in the processing of these leases. But what is most fundamental is that since there are enough safeguards in the current legal framework, then we are coming up with what we have called a position paper guiding the entire country on how to deal with these issues. For example, where we have lessees that acquired these leases, never took possession, never paid, never complied with the building covenants, they never paid the premium, then we are advising, and as expressly provided in the law, for the controlling authorities to exercise their right of re-entry, give priority to the sitting customary tenants, and in so doing, we shall sort out the issue. I don't know whether I've attempted to answer the concern. Yes, sir.
Honorable Chair, what happens on ground by virtue of Section 28? Some of the lease owners go ahead to transfer, to convert such lease automatically, even without going back to the ground. And what the ministry is doing is to protect the tenants over the same land. But for me, I would look at it in an angle where government can come up with a direct solution, not a protection, but a direct solution to cure the effect. Because where they acquire the lease and have gone contrary to the lease agreement, you have the mandate through your commissioner registrars to cancel out such titles. Why can't you issue directives for cancellation and stopping over any conversion of such lease to avoid and curb over there would be consequential effects?
Honourable Minister, I want to suggest that some of the answers will be sent to us in writing Let us try to answer a few. Then others will be sent to the committee secretariat in writing, and we shall be having more interactions with you as our committee. I want to thank you very much. I am giving back the microphone to you for summarizing.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Tebandeke, we are addressing that issue, and we shall come up with a solution. So what we ask you is to give us more time, because the technical people have been doing their work. In as far as public land is concerned, we shall get their report and see what are the concrete actions to be taken when it comes to public land, especially land which has people. And maybe the people who got the leases have never taken possession, meaning that they are not on ground, and what they asked that land for has never been effected. So we shall come up with a solution. On Mbarara, the Mbarara diocese, where we talked about 10 titles, we have talked to the people in the ministry zone office. They are saying that the private surveyor had not done his work properly. The estates manager for the diocese is aware, but also the bishop himself is aware. So we are pushing hard to see that the private surveyor does what is required of them, and once they are done, they make submissions to the ministry for the titles to be processed. If they fail, then criminal proceedings will be taken on them, because they took on that assignment thinking that they will deliver as expected. Then the members talked about the physical planning board. That one we are fast tracking. We are fast tracking in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Since now we have the principles of the bill, now we are working on the bill itself. We want it to be delivered before we end this year. I was asked to benchmark with Judicial Service Commission. I will do so on the payments of the commissioners of Land Commission. Then the issue of payment of absentee landlords, why the land fund was not operationalized. It's not only land fund, there were a number of funds, and different MDAs had petitioned the Ministry of Finance to operationalize. So they realized that the cost of putting those special funds under each MDA, would say the AIDS fund, maybe so many funds. So they put up a team to look at those different funds, and they realized that it was not going to be achievable because of what is required to have the funds established. What they decided is to keep on financing or putting the funds under the different MDAs, and then let the MDAs mainstream the activities that would be intended for the land fund and also other related funds into the mainstream budget of the ministry, rather than having the land fund. Like they told you, the land fund had never been operationalized, and we cannot say that we have been having it yet. The word is there. The word is there, but the funds are not there. What they are doing is to put the funds to run our activities of compensation and acquiring land in our budget as a ministry, and we are going to ensure that we prioritize, but also guide on ULC of what is expected of them. Then inspection, the land inspection. Why are people building in wetlands? At the district, we work with local government, but the districts have the physical planning committees and the building committees. They are the first entry into any area where a building is going to take place. We expect them, because we give them guidance, to monitor and supervise the activities on a day-to-day basis and report to us in case of things not done the right way. And what the ministry does is to inspect. So where we inspect, because we are at the headquarters, but we have to work with those respective committees and the local government. When we inspect and we find that people are building where they are not supposed to build, action is taken, working with the police and other law enforcement agencies. only that we cannot be very effective because we are not everywhere in the country, we are not across the country. We shall keep on emphasizing to local government to do what is required of them, because we have worked even on regulations on what they are supposed to follow when it comes to construction, for example, the fuel station. Wetlands must be protected. We are working with Ministry of Water and Environment, but still even then, it is the district who are the primary keepers of those wetlands and protected areas. Then land registration. Yes, they told you that the days have reduced, and we are trying to ensure that they reduce further. That's why we decentralized the services. You talked about double titling. Yes, we have challenges of double titling, title overlaps, and multiple titles. We are trying to clean, using the land information system, we are trying to clean our system to ensure that that challenge is removed, or is reduced. We have had a case study in Mukono municipality where we said, let us first benchmark and see how best we can address those title overlaps. We managed to work with the landlords, the leaders in Mukono municipality, and actually we managed to cancel about 1,000 titles that had been created using those kind of overlaps, double, multiple, and we realized that through engaging stakeholders, it went well, because we never had even people who were complaining about what had been done, because we would ask, where is your land? If 3 people have titles pointing at one piece of land, then we go, who had the title or who is in possession of that piece of land? Then the rest of you automatically have to accept that you have a title but you don't have land if you cannot show us where your piece of land is. That exercise has been successful, and we are still continuing to clean up. But good enough, His Excellency the President also now gave us alpha to engage in a technology which is called blockchain. We believe that also blockchain technology will help us to reduce on the multiple titles, overlaps, and clean our registry, because we are looking at having a credible registry, an authentic registry without those overlaps. USMID project ended, but some of the projects were not concluded, some of the activities are patched. What I can promise, I'm going to investigate and find out what happened exactly in the process of implementing the projects in your area. Then if really they did not conclude them, maybe we can prioritize them now that we have this UCHMID, which is upcoming, because UCHMID is a continuation of what has been ongoing. So we shall rectify those challenges. Soroti, EMZO, we are also going to get in touch with Soroti and try to style up. We shall tell them to style up and also get in touch with you. That's what I can promise. This one is telling me that it was solved one year ago. Then somebody talked about the street lights in Gulu. Honorable Chair and members, under USMID, we implemented these projects. And what we wanted were the local governments or the municipalities and cities to have what they call a sustainability and maintenance plan. Honestly, solar lights without being serviced for 4 years, I don't think they can stay on. They need the best thing we are encouraging these municipalities to do and cities is to have plans of routine maintenance and repairs like the way it is done elsewhere. Because without that, even what we have done may not last long. So that's what we are looking up to, and we want you to also help us to encourage the municipalities and cities to do the same. Honorable Chair and members, I think that's what I managed to capture. The relationship with other, they are not tribunals, other land handling institutions. We work with them because we are the custodian of all the information which is related to land. So when they are doing their investigations, they always come to us to support them with information from our registry. And where mistakes or disagreements are on ground, usually people petition us. And when we are petitioned, we call the parties. We call the parties, or we address the challenges or the petitions working with those institutions you are talking about. It's unfortunate if yours hasn't been handled properly or as expected. We promise that after here you can get in touch with us and we see how best we can help to resolve some of those issues. But land is not a simple issue. You have seen the challenges we have been facing in the country.
Honorable Tebandeke, she has taken note. She has taken note. Let her finish herself.
So, Honorable Chair, we shall keep on taking note of Honorable Tebandeke's concerns, and where possible, we shall intervene and see how to improve. I wanted the Undersecretary to talk about, not harm, to talk about the manpower, but since you have said that we shall give you a handwritten response, I think most of the issues raised will be put in that document, which will be handed over to you. I want to thank you for your time, being the first time, and we hope to work well with you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Since we are going to transit from Wusimidi to Uchimidi, is it? Yeah, we are very glad, and we believe that any development, any investment in a developing area has a very high value, a very high return on investment. The committee wants to resolve as follows. One, we are requesting the Ministry and Uganda Land Commission to submit the budget performance report for financial year 2024-2025 to the committee secretariat to ease committee work. Two, the list of beneficiaries of compensation and loan scheme, if any. You don't have loan scheme, not yet, only beneficiaries. Okay. Three, the ministry's strategic plan. Four, the inventory, the available inventory of government land. We want to thank you very much. We want to thank you, Honourable Minister, for making time for the committee. As a committee, we are pledging full commitment and support towards ensuring that all land issues are solved and we live in a harmonious country. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Honorable Muhammad and Honorable Juliet Subi, we are requesting you to see off the team. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Meeting at Jan, sign. Still have our in the house as you still have our small